Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Claru.
And this is the Nerdy,
the Wordy,
the book club, coming at you from a new location, new setup.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is all going to change, hopefully quickly.
No.
Yeah. Well, the chairs will stay.
Yeah.
Our new chair partners with Valencia Home Theater Seating. You're going to have to check them out. They make fine quality leather goods that I have not gotten up out of so far this morning. Rather than sitting on my couch to watch football, I was like, ooh, I could go sit on my Valencia seats.
Which is hilarious because, like, I bought you the Lazy Boy because you're like, this is the one thing that I want. And now this is, like, competing for the Lazy Boy.
It's not that it's competing. It's that in our new house, my Lazy Boy is right by a window that has sunshine on it. And these are in the dark, dank basement. And you know that I like my caves.
Right, yeah.
I am
Nerdy
a bear.
Doesn't like sunlight.
But not the gay kind, the hibernating kind.
They also have air massage, and you can recline and put your feet up. It's pretty freaking great. It's just pretty freaking great. These chairs are awesome.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Let's say hi to chat. We are talking about Oathbringer from the Prologue to Chapter 17 today. Good morning, chat. How is everybody doing?
Hello. Good morning. Happy Sunday.
Yeah.
It's going to be 2 Sunday book clubs, and then we're moving to Monday, so hopefully you enjoy this time slot while it's here.
Yeah, so there's going to be 3 of these, and then we'll be on Mondays. Sorry that we have to switch things up.
Sorry.
Is it only 2? Oh, I thought it was 3.
I don't know.
Well, I want to get it
right,
right, because I don't want people
schedule. Whatever.
It's not whatever. It's important.
Sorry.
Actually, it's actually, like, wildly important.
Okay, yeah, we're really good at this. Linus, welcome back to the Nerds Radiant. We still haven't changed the name of that.
I know.
Love that for us.
Oh, no, you're right. It's 2 Sundays, and then we're Monday, November 4th. So this Sunday, next Sunday, and then after that, it's Mondays starting on November 4th.
Hell yeah. Remember, no mating. Thank you for that reminder. We appreciate it.
Thank you for being a member for 22 months.
Hell yeah.
No mating.
It's so weird not to rush
on YouTube
home from work to get to this on time. Hey, here's the thing. If people are digging a Sunday vibe, you know, come the new year, we can make our schedule whatever we want.
No, Sunday's so hard because then Sunday's a tough day.
Why? Oh, football.
Conventions. I don't care about football.
Friday is also convention day.
Yeah, but I don't know.
He wants to watch football.
That's not it at all. I'm not watching football right now, and I'm fine with it. Okay, why are you calling me out like this? I might turn the game on at 1:00. So for the last hour of book club, I might watch some Giants losing to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. Blue, welcome back for 33 months. That's a nice number. I like that number.
Yeah, you want these chairs? I mean, I get it. They have massages. There's like a remote. They do things. Thank you, Valencia.
They do things. There's storage.
There is. Yeah. We can like keep stuff. Look at that.
Yeah, there's like.
And it's deep too. You can fit a whole Gamer Subs cup standing straight up in that storage.
Damn.
We're gonna start having prop comedies in book club.
That would actually be very funny.
We'll just pull a fucking like. I think you might be able to fit one Stormlight Archive book in here.
Yeah, maybe one of them. And then Edge Dancer.
Judith Getters, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
Well Rested and Hyper Book Club had opening weekend for Evita.
Hell yeah.
Ooh, don't cry for me, Argentina. And so glad to have a regular schedule again so I can actually get some sleep. Let's go sleep.
Yeah, sleep
Let's
is good.
go sleep.
Sleep is good.
Claps for sleep.
Claps for sleep.
Alec, thank you for being a member for 32 months. Welcome back to the Nards.
Happy to have you here.
Radiant.
Let's freaking go.
Before we get into today's podcast, we have to mention it's brought to you by MistyMountainGaming.com.
Hell yeah.
MistyMountainGaming.com is a website on the internet, a place that you can only get to with your mom's permission. So get your mom's permission before you go to MistyMountainGaming.com. And without her permission, steal her credit card. And start racking up them bills by buying dice, dice towers, dice vaults, dice wood, dice stone, dice gems, dice metals, all the dice. They've got hollow ones. They've got full ones. They've got silicon ones.
They've got liquid ones.
Liquid core ones, yeah.
With glitter inside.
They've got potion ones. They've got dice, motherfuckers. Buckle the fuck up and get some dice in your life.
Yeah.
At MistyMountainGaming.com if you want 15% off your order.
Nerdy Nightly 15.
Nerdy Nightly 15.
You nailed it.
Yeah,
Crush.
Nerdy Nightly 15.
10 out of 10.
And yeah. Seth Butler says that's ableist against people without moms. I don't think having a mom is an ability.
Yeah, I don't think people who
Do you think
don't have
disabled
moms
people
are disabled.
spring from the ground fully formed? You know they also have moms, right? We all come from a womb at some point.
Stacy's mom. For legal reasons, non-endorse theft of your parents' credit card. Thanks. Thank you, lawyer.
Yeah.
Arzu. We've got our executive producer, Blue, and Arzu is like our lawyer.
Yeah.
Our lawyer and consultant.
The mods have to step in when we say insane shit and be like, hey, they don't mean this.
This is for jokes. For comedy. Slash S.
Yeah, they are
for
our
sarcasm.
slash S.
Yeah. Oh my god.
All right, everyone, welcome into the book club. Clarus, we have now started the third part of of the Stormlight Archive, Oathbringer.
Hell yeah.
I had originally said that Oathbringer was clearly about the sword because if it was also a book in the universe that pertained to the class that Dalinar ended up joining, that would be stupid.
Yeah, I think someone probably has a clip of that somewhere.
So now that it's true, and I've already called it stupid. Yeah,
you're gonna walk it back, or you're gonna like dig your heels in?
No, I don't like it.
Okay.
It feels too. If the sword had been named Oathbringer before Dalinar got it, I wouldn't mind as much.
It was. The sword has been Oathbringer since the dawn of fucking time.
No, Dalinar named it Oathbringer.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That sword is like old, right? It's
yeah,
like a famous one.
We've already talked about the fact that they don't always know it was called Oathbringer already. Okay, well then I've changed my mind.
Yeah, this shard blade is like famous.
Sure. Okay. You know what? No, it doesn't change my mind completely though. Gavilar calls it that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love the like convenience of he has Oathbringer and it's also the book that's named after.
He wrote the book.
Dalinar?
And he is writing this book and calling it Oathbringer. Yeah, these prologues are all written by Dalinar. Prologues. Epigraphs.
Oh, I've massively misunderstood this.
Ah.
I thought Oathbringer was like the Words of Radiance, where it was like the book about his order.
Oh, like it had already been written. No, this is literally Dalinar writing his fucking memoir.
That changes everything mentally. Thank you. I'm glad we talked about this, because I was sitting there like... Dalinar getting...
Sorry, he notated and probably Navani wrote it down.
It changes... it 100% changes it for me, because I was like, Dalinar having the sword Oathbringer and also the book Oathbringer...
Yeah.
Was like goofy to me in a way that
felt... is fair.
Yeah.
That would be goofy.
I get it. He was always destined to be an Oathbringer. But then it's like, well, then what was the point? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why am I? But because it's not that actually makes 100% more sense. I
am 99% sure that this is Dalinar writing this book.
Yeah.
About the events that are happening currently, because he talks about having to make a specific choice. And trying to like leave behind something as understanding and not as like justification. I like it doesn't say by Dalinar Colin, but it just the moment like I
or
read
whoever
it,
he's dictating it to.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. If
Oathbringer is a book that is currently being written, that works better for me. Because Linus Fiction says Dalinar's order also isn't called Oathbringer, so yeah, but like Shalan's order also isn't called Words of Radiance, is right? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Well, no, but I mean it, right? Like the each order has a book.
Yeah.
About being in that order.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
I don't know, guys. I don't fucking know. I didn't like the convenience of it. Now I don't mind it. We're good.
That's fair. I think that it would have been weird if I thought the things that you had thought. Like it would have been like, oh, that's a really weird choice. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's just, it would be a convenience in a way that I wouldn't have liked, but it's not true, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We're crushing it today.
We are on a tear. Already just correcting nerdy's dumb opinions.
It's fine. It's what I signed up for.
Great.
How are you feeling about the book so far? Because we talked about it a little bit in the audiobook reactions, but not everybody watches those.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that whatever we've said there, we're touching on here as well.
I think, I'm enjoying it so far. It's light, you know what I mean? It's a little bit, it's so strange because it feels like the stakes should be so much higher than they are. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the one thing. I'm enjoying the reading because it is a little bit more like slice of life in this moment.
Yeah.
But
we're
it also
good character stuff.
Yeah, the character stuff is great. But it's also weirdly a little bit it's a little bit chill considering what is going on in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel like our characters should be a little bit more concerned with what's going on.
It feels like the weird, like, calm before the storm. But
the storm is already hit.
Yeah. But the thing is, right, is that the Everstorm and the High Storm, they're most dangerous when they clash. And they're going to start clashing at different points each time. Because they, I'm assuming, don't move at the exact same speed. It'd be weird if they only clashed on the Shattered Plains every time. Like, they're gonna, like, destroy every city one by one by one by one.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, fuck. Well, at least now we maybe have a way to, like, figure out what to do about it, ?
Yeah. But
and also, the Parchment didn't attack? That's weird.
Interesting. But weird.
Yeah.
I like it. I do feel, I titled this book club, book 3 is HORNY. Right?
Oh my god, and, so horny.
But that's what I think kind of helps with that lightness is like, we have these like joking scenes about like Kaladin being worried that Syl's gonna watch him have sex.
Yeah.
We have the marriage of, Dalinar and Navani, which was very sweet and like it was very fun to read.
Yeah.
And obviously there's going to be massive consequences because of it, right? Already has been consequences. And then we get like date night with Shalan and Adolin, and it just is a very low stakes sort of slow opening to the book that is nice because we're getting these wonderful character moments, right? And it's really fun to kind of get to dive into them not all being super depressed.
Yeah, but I also think that in a really interesting way it ratchets up the tension because we know like shit is like so bad and we're like, all right, so we're gonna figure something out, right? Like,
but is it that bad?
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like it's actually that like everywhere they're calling, they're like,
Satan's gonna come and kill everybody.
That's bad, but that's not happening. Right?
Yeah.
Like, right now, things aren't actually that bad. The Everstorm isn't that destructive. Mm-hmm. Really, right? It's not...
Well, no, it is. We just haven't been in cities where it really fucked things up, right? Because there are certain cities that are built a specific direction. Like, we saw...
But Hearthhome is one of those, and every single person in Hearthhome's fine. Right, like even in the places that Kaladin's gone to, it's not like the Everstorm did that much damage. They're fine.
Yeah, it's
his whole
more
family's
so
alive.
The big cities, like the Queen of Iriali, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like their whole city got fucking decimated because of how it's built, right?
Yeah.
Because in Edge Dancer we saw that it was recessed, so it kind of was okay from either side. Mm-hmm. We also don't know what the fuck's going on in Kholinar. Like that might be fucked.
Sure, unrelated to the Parchment, or unrelated to the storm. But
yeah, the weird thing is that the level of destruction is so dependent on the construction of that specific spot. Like
yeah.
So it's gonna be really interesting to see who's hit hardest, and also the places where the high storm like calms down when it gets to. Mm-hmm. Is the Everstorm just as strong when it gets there, and so do they not have any kind of protections against that kind of storm?
Yeah,
like a storm of that like magnitude. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll find out, I'm sure.
FSU Raven says, but Hearthstone building and food supplies were wrecked. I mean, yeah, but that's not as big a problem in this world, right? Where because the interesting thing about Roshar is because there's no consistent season cycle, there's not actually like a winter that you're saving up for.
There like is, but it's not.
But they're
like...
random. You never know when they're coming.
Yeah.
So the world isn't set up for the same sort of well, we have to stock up for winter and then we have to survive the winter and then stock up for winter, then survive the winter.
Yeah.
That cycle that is so important to the yearly life on Earth doesn't exist on Roshar. It can be like a random sort of winter somewhere in a way that like their food stores don't have the same problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's just a really fascinating... It completely changes the way in which food needs to be stored because you're not constantly preparing for this like season of no plant growth.
Yeah.
Because even the weeping, it would be hard to like really grow because so many crops would get drowned out in something like the weeping on our planet. But because it's only 2 weeks, it's not that bad. Like you can get through 2 weeks without food.
4 weeks.
I thought it was 2 weeks. I thought it was 10 days.
10 days.
Maybe it's 4 weeks.
Because I know that there's like an exact middle point, and every other year there's a storm or not a storm. But Judah, thank you for that super chat. This book loves to grind its gears for a while, and I really quite like it because while the apocalypse is happening, there's a non-normalcy about it which shows the mundanity of life in disasters. Yeah, I think that bringing it down to a human level, especially when one of the themes of your book is how close to human are the Parshmen? Like, like what is humanity and what does that mean? I think is smart. I do like to see that almost like mundane day-to-day of life stuff while there's like you said, a literal apocalypse going on, because that stuff doesn't just like stop, right?
Yeah, I think that what takes the tension out of that a little bit for me is that the people we're following aren't going through an apocalypse. So like the characters, the POV characters that we're following don't experience the negatives of the apocalypse at all, right? Mm-hmm. They are all safe, including like even Kaladin, right? Kaladin is going around to see the aftermath, but it is sort of like living in Canada during Milton last week. I was really worried about people, but there was no effects on me. And so the Urithiru crew, as much as they are worried about the effects worldwide, we are not actually seeing the experience of the Everstorm through the lens of people actually experiencing it because they're above it and safe from it.
Well, they did experience the clash of the two. Like the moment...
Sure, but at the end of book 2, we already we've said our piece about how it didn't feel like that was actually that bad because of the way it was presented in the book. Like, we went on that about, 3 weeks ago.
Wasn't that bad?
Yeah, about how the Everstorm, like, because of who among our cast we saw be affected by it, it didn't end up feeling as disastrous as we had anticipated.
Oh, like, there was no, no main characters lost, but there was still, like, a significant portion of the army just fucking blown away into chasms.
Yeah, but I will say I felt the... And I think that one of the ways in which I'm feeling this is that I felt the loss of life more from the tower at the end of book 1 than I did from the Everstorm hit at the end of book 2.
Fair.
Like the impact of, and maybe it's because it's easier to point the blame at Sadeas at the beginning of book 2 than it is to point the blame at the Everstorm at the beginning of book 3.
Right.
But the loss of life on the tower felt like a more impactful hit on Dalinar's team than I think the Everstorm has. Mm-hmm. And I think that Brandon Sanderson was more effective in making me feel the emotional hit of how much life was lost at the end of Way of Kings and at the beginning of Words of Radiance, with the way that he described the empty war camps and the emotional life of his camp having to kind of be reignited by the post the betrayal on the tower.
Yeah.
Whereas because of the way in which Urithiru's hallways are small, and we're talking about building inns, and we're talking about building these things, and we're like going on dates and things. It feels very different in this book.
It does feel different.
And it doesn't feel... It feels like the loss on the tower was a more impactful loss than whatever happened during the Everstorm clash.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. It's weird because they do have this, like, little haven almost, but... Mm-hmm. But it's also cold. I would hate it.
And so, yeah, I'm really enjoying the book. I was expecting the start of this book to feel more tense than it does to me.
Right, yeah.
It kind of feels like we're gonna be okay for a while now.
I don't know. I don't know about a while. But it does feel like we have, like, at least a moment to try and get our feet under ourselves. Mm-hmm. We've got magic powers. We kind of need to figure out how the fuck to use them. Like...
Yeah, and there's a lot of magical powers to figure out.
Yeah.
Which we see some in great display. But we should probably get to the actual book itself.
Let's do it.
The prologue to Weep, we start the book with Eshonai. This is the Eshonai prologue.
Yeah.
So
throwback. Thus
far we have Szeth.
Yeah.
And then we have Jasnah. And then we have Eshonai. Mm-hmm. Who do you think is book 4 and 5's Night of Gavilar's Death prologues?
Oh. We said that, like... We were like, we don't know how much longer this is going to go on for.
I do think it gets to book 5. I do think... I think
Dalinar.
Wind and Truth. I don't see much purpose in Dalinar's. We already know what happened to him that night. He was drunk and he was out of it.
But I feel like it's like... I feel like that day, like earlier in the day, maybe there was a reason that he got fucking smashed.
I don't think it's that. I think he was just drinking all the time back then. I think it was more routine than...
Yeah.
I think a Dalinar POV would be sort of... If you were going to do
miserable.
It would be this book where we're getting his backstories.
Maybe Amaram?
Amaram's a good one. No, I definitely think Amaram is a solid option.
If we're getting 2 more.
Yeah.
If we're getting 2 more and I have to try and figure out someone who is there whose POV might grant new information or reframe information. Mm-hmm. Amaram is one.
Weirdly, I think Gavilar isn't.
No.
I don't think that there is a place for Gavilar to provide more information. Because we see his scene with Eshonai, we see his scene with Jasnah, we see his scene with Szeth. I feel like weirdly, at this point, if we were to get a Gavilar POV, it would just be it would be the same scenes we've already seen from a different point of view. And maybe there would be interesting information in his, like, inner monologue in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't see them doing Gavilar.
Unless there is some kind of huge thing, like, piece of like Gavilar's POV that we are missing. Like, I can see it maybe happening. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think that Amaram would have new information.
Carrion brings up Navani. I think Navani's a really solid choice.
Yeah, okay, Navani's a good one.
Because she hasn't appeared in any of the other POVs.
Scenes, right. Is she even there? She should be.
I think she is, but we have not seen her yet.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, like...
Navani's a good one.
Yeah. Dalinar's is more interesting in the aftermath because he was drunk and he missed it.
Yeah.
Than it is to watch him get drunk.
Yeah.
Right? Navani's cool. I also think Adolin might be really interesting. Because I don't know where Adolin was for this.
Yeah, but Adolin would have been, like, 14.
Sure, but, like, what does a 14-year-old see and not understand at the time that becomes important later, right? How many times as a kid did you see things that your parents were doing and not understand what it was? And then when you're in your mid-20s, you have that, like, moment of remembrance. And you suddenly have context for this thing that you watch your parents go through. And it reframes how you view your parents. Right?
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
Michael brings up Sadeas. Sadeas is an interesting one.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Because Sadeas would get a great... Sadeas would get great... the moment where Gavilar tells him to run away.
You know what? I don't think Sadeas. I think that the book as a larger whole is more about these, like, secret goings on behind closed doors. And I don't think that Sadeas was plotting at this point. I think that, like, they were pretty, like, I think, you know, they were conquering. They pulled Alethkar together. Like, I feel like Sadeas is probably fairly content at this point. I actually don't know what information his POV would add. It would be interesting, but actually I don't think Gallant POV, that would be very funny.
Yeah, I definitely think Amaram is probably the best option. Just because he knows so much about Gavilar's.
Yeah, he's in on some shit. I also thought that the person in this prologue was Taravangian, but now I'm not so sure because Dalinar doesn't really know anything about Taravangian.
Sorry, who in the prologue is Taravangian?
There's like an old guy in robes that Eshonai sees, and we don't really get any visual.
I assumed it was Taravangian too, but apparently Dalinar's never met him. Yeah,
Dalinar doesn't know him, so it'd be a little bit odd if Taravangian was there. Maybe this was just like an Ardent or something. Because I at first I was like, oh, definitely Taravangian, but now I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I think that honestly, Amaram and Navani.
I think that might be right.
Yeah. Adolin would be cool, but it is one of those things where does it provide new context and new information for these, like, secret organizations?
I could see it being Adolin or Renarin if it's like, if the conversation is like, oh, well, we just don't talk about that here. And Gavilar's like, oh, he's a boy, he doesn't understand. And he, like, overhears something that he's not supposed to.
Unless we get Queenie's POV. Unless she's up to some shady stuff. Elhakar's wife.
Oh, Isedan.
That, right, yeah.
An Isedan POV before we start learning about the riots is very interesting.
We don't really know anything about her deal, so, and the fact that
Other than she's the fucking worst.
Well, and the fact that Yasna was, like, having an assassin, like, watch her, you know, is...
Yeah, Isedan makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways, Eshonai POV was really cool. I think that there's no way that she's dead. We talked about that in the reaction to it.
No, it'd suck if she was.
It would be kind of, it'd be silly.
So Eshonai, she's with her people at the docks. We get some information about the Parshmen and that they are, like, locked in the dull form. And so it's not just that they are, or in the slave form.
Yeah, because dull form is actually a little bit different.
Yeah. And so at some point in the past, they've gotten locked in this form because of the way that they lost the previous war. Mm-hmm. And Eshonai is really disturbed by them, the most sensical stuff. Honestly, a lot of my favorite stuff in Oathbringer so far is the Parchment stuff. I'm not gonna lie. So we get them because they're slaves. They're, like, mentally forced to try and be helpful, and the Parshendi are very uncomfortable with this, as of course they would be, and so it just creates this very, like, tense dynamic in this in this cavernous loading dock. And we find out that Eshonai is sort of known among her people as disappearing and doing her own thing. And so it sets up this character who we know from the first, really, really only from the second book, to be a committed leader and a stalwart defender of her community, and a very responsible and very in charge and present kind of person. Yeah. And so it's so fascinating to meet her 6 years earlier, and she isn't like that at all, right? She's impulsive and independent and not responsible to or for anything. Yeah. And, it speaks so much to the change that the 6 years of war has brought to her. Almost more than anyone else, right? Like, weirdly, Eshonai feels like the most impacted character arc-wise by the 6 year war on the Shattered Plains. Yeah. And we spend the least time with her. Yeah.
Yeah, it also begs the question of, like, how much of that is circumstance and how much of that is being in war form, because we know that it like changes you, like the different forms kind of affect your personality, which is weird. I don't know.
I think it impacts a little bit, but I don't think you... I think you're still you.
I don't know.
Because otherwise... Because
the way that they talk about it, and that's the thing. That's why I do feel a little bit weird about it, is like... how much individuality do the Parshendi have then if they're just... Arzu, thank you so much for 10 gifted memberships.
Arzu, and also Gritzer joined, I think.
Hell yeah. Oh, we have a new Nerd Radiant as well.
Gritzer, welcome to the Nerds Radiant.
Thank
and Arzu,
you.
Thank you for bringing all those squires into the Windrunners.
Yeah, right. You are now Bridge 4.
Thank you so much, Arzu. That's so kind of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I still feel like weird.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like what is a personality? Like, just having an existential crisis.
Yeah, and I think a lot of my, a lot of the way that I will look back on this series is going to be dependent on the way in which Brandon Sanderson manages the Parshendi.
For sure.
And the story that he's telling with them. And I think that in many ways he's kind of laying a minefield for himself. And it's a very interesting minefield. And it's full of exciting twists and turns. But landing that plane, I'm going with all the metaphors right now. Landing that plane is gonna have a big impact on what I think about this series.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Because I've already said, like, I don't think we spend enough time with them, and the way that they're being used in this story is a little in the first two books. It's a little bit disregarded. And that's intentional, and I completely understand the intention.
Yeah.
But how we get to kind of the end point with them in particular is going to be very important to me in terms of how I look back on this as a series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
sort of how, the way the Dakaval and the Domain were handled in Wheel of Time had a big impact on me not really enjoying that series in hindsight.
For sure.
And, the disappointment that I felt in how little attention was put into that element of that world.
Yeah.
No, it already feels like Brandon Sanderson is doing a better job here, partially because we are getting internal POV within that community in a way we didn't with the Dakaval and the Domain and Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
I'm so curious to see where the story's going, and I think that, if Eshonai is dead here, I will be massively disappointed because I think that this prologue made her so deeply fascinating to me.
My hope is that, like, the fall, like, whatever happened to her is, like, enough to, when you fall and you hit your head, right, you get a concussion, that it might be enough to shake this, like, presence, like the Odium presence.
Oh, all the gifts that Odium gives?
The gifts. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying you're hoping that, like, the spren that's running her brain gets knocked out by dropping into the trenches?
Right, like, I don't think this is a magical world. I don't think that's an impossibility.
I was thinking it might be that the listeners that went down into the chasms might find her, and they might be the ones to bring her back.
Yeah. Because also, like, here's the thing. The Parshmen didn't turn into, like, a fucking storm form. So does it have to do with
how many spren there are around?
That's what I mean. Like, maybe if Eshonai fell, that, like, another spren could have bopped in, like, art spren. I don't know. Like, whatever spren they used to get into art form, or whatever spren they used to get into work form, or...
Well, and we know that... Yeah. We know that Venli was collecting spren before the Everstorm. So, like, they were able to go into storm form because they had intentionally gathered that. But I don't know that, like, the storm just contained enough spren for that.
Okay.
Or that it could force it upon people.
So if anger spren are what turned you into war form, then the more hatred and anger in the world, the more spren are around to inhabit the Parshendi and take them over and make them Odium.
That's not a bad thought, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know, like, I think that the spren are attracted to whatever it is that you're feeling. So if people are angrier, there will be more anger spren around to take over?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. So Eshonai is walking around the hallways of Kholinar. They basically, the whole palace is open to them except for places that have guards on the doors, which is very kind. And she just walks into a meeting with Gavilar. Gavilar is talking to Amaram and some others. And he's like, come sit with me. Come hang out. And he's like, look at this Fabrial. Look deep inside. And this is kind of the first time where it's confirmed that...
Look hard.
that Fabrials work by trapping Spren in gemstones. How that works, no idea. Is that moral? I don't know.
Well, it depends on the kind of Spren, because some Spren... Like, Syl literally is like, these Spren aren't, like... They're not, like, alive. They don't have minds.
Okay, but, like, swords also have minds and personalities in this world. So, like, the...
Do they have personalities, or do they just have gender?
No, they have, like, a desire. They have desires.
Do they? I thought you had to be a higher Spren to have any sense of cognitive...
sentience.
Yeah.
But, like, sentient... Like, dogs don't have sentience, right? We don't consider
not have
dogs to be a
self-awareness?
sentient species.
Oh, I thought animals
Humans
were...
are.
I thought animals were sentient, but plants are not. Like, if you
I think we're talking levels of sentience, right?
Okay,
like,
okay.
Like, dogs can't, like...
they put a plant.
Speak complicated sentences.
Sure.
Right?
But Rashadium...
Maybe I'm using sentience wrong. Sapience, I think, is the word I mean. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. God, why
but,
do they
the
make
ship
them
was
so
like,
close?
I want to be a ship. And you're like, yeah. And so... The weird thing here is that, like, if everything has a point of view, is using things appropriate. Can a sword consent to being a sword? Is such a weird thought.
If the sword wants to be a sword.
But so Syl being like, but those are not thinking Spren, and I'm like, but...
Here's the thing. If the stick wanted to be something else, it can change. We've seen it. So if a sword doesn't want to be a sword anymore, it doesn't have to be a sword. A sword can be like, nah, fuck it, I'm
if
a boat.
If a soulcaster comes and helps, but it has to be a sword.
Oh, I know. I thought that the Spren decided. I thought that the stick, like, just would decide to not be a stick anymore.
But you still need a soulcaster to make the physical change.
Do you in Shadesmar? I don't know about that.
Well, in Shadesmar, it's just a bead.
What?
In Shadesmar, it's just a bead. It only has a physical form as a sword in our world.
I thought this... Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no... This is where the, like, cognitive realm stuff breaks my brain.
Yeah.
And makes things just a little bit complicated.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
In the, like... Yeah. In the morality of trapping a Spren inside of a gemstone forever to use them to heat your home...
Is it any different than putting a firefly in a lantern? I don't know. I'm legitimately asking.
I don't think so. Except that a firefly will die in like a day.
And a Spren won't.
And a Spren is trapped in there forever to be a hearth. And there's just something...
Maybe it likes being a hearth.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I literally was like, oh, it's like putting a plant in your house instead of outside.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
it's the cognitive realm fucks me up. It makes this whole series a little bit
it's like as soon as you think about it, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Taravangian explains that they know how to trap Spren. I think it's because they use the word trap that it feels...
You're like, this feels bad.
Like, if they had been like, we I don't know what would make it better. I'm like, coerce isn't better. We negotiate with Spren. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna think of it like a houseplant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. So it's just very odd. And so Gavilar's a fucking idiot. Gavilar's like, we're gonna bring back your gods. Don't you want that? And she's like, no, that would be the worst thing ever. And he's like, well, we're gonna do it anyway. You should be happy about it. Yeah. Fuck you. I don't know. Guys, I'm not gonna lie.
Gavilar kind of sucks.
Gavilar sucks.
Yeah.
Gavilar is, Gavilar's a dumb idiot bad guy.
Yeah. Gavilar might be a baddie.
Yeah, and so the,
and not in, like, the, like, hot girl kind of way.
Yeah.
As in the, like, Jafar kind of way.
And, so he's like, well, go back to your people. Tell the Council of Five that,
they're fucked.
Kind of.
Yeah.
To remember what
Here,
they once were and to
take
wake
a
up.
bead.
And he gives her this like dark yet glowing sphere. And she goes back to them. She's like, hey, Gavilar wants to bring the gods back. And they're like, oh, well, it's a good thing Clade heard a voice telling him to find an assassin recently. And so we have Zeth.
This is what Venli is so suspicious. Oh my god, we talked about this in the reaction. But I was like, nah, Venli's up to some weird fucking shit. Like, the fact that she was there for that, the fact that she was gathering all these spren and she knew, like, Venli is gonna be the ultimate big bad. Venli's probably gonna be Odium's champion. Fuck Venli.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, she's,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting Odium's champion vibes from her, but I see where you're, I see why you think that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
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 Yep. It's just too convenient, my dude. Yeah, and so they literally they vote to fucking assassinate Gavilar then and there, and Eshonai's like, Drummy, she's like, wow, this fucking sucks. Like...
Yeah, I definitely thought...
It was a rough read.
I definitely thought this chapter would give us more context into why the Parshendi took the blame as quickly as they did. Like, I was a little bit surprised that we didn't get that. You know, because I guess there's not really a reason to lie, right? The people saw you bring Zeth into the palace.
Yeah, it's gonna get out eventually.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit prophecy-ish, and I'm hoping there's a real good reason why the Zeth thing is there that isn't just convenience.
I honestly think that the Parshendi, like, confessed immediately to, like, distract from the evacuation of the rest of their people, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
I think they were like, well, someone's gotta be the scapegoat, right? Gotta direct their anger somewhere.
Yeah, but why would you leave your leaders to do that? And suddenly you're just like...
Because the leaders are the people who take responsibility for the actions of their community. Like, the regular Parshendi didn't vote to fucking assassinate him, so the people who decided to assassinate him, they were like, we're gonna fucking take the...
Yeah, but then the people that lead your people are dead. And suddenly you're like, not only are you fleeing, but you also have to figure out a new chain of command while fleeing. It is a big ass.
Yeah, but it would have been pretty fucking dark if they were like, here's a bunch of random Parshendi, take them as sacrifice.
Would the Alethi be able to tell them apart?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't tell them apart.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe Yasna thinks she thought it was this particular Parshendi, but it wasn't.
Judah Kazar, thank you for super chat. It was a very honorable move for the listeners. Oh, it's honorable. Yeah. I think in the moment where you're assassinating someone at a peace treaty signing, honor kind of goes out the window. And being like, well, we did it in the honorable way is a little bit bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's also like, all right, so Satan returns and enslaves us all, or we assassinate a guy.
Yeah, I also just the amount they bought into Gavilar's ability to do it, based on how little information he provided, was extreme. The listeners are very extreme people. They live at 100.
We talked about this, and if someone was like, hey, like, I can actually bring back the person who, like, enslaved you and your people, here's, like, 5% evidence, I'd be like, I'm not taking any chances. I don't want to be a slave again. Fuck it. Not gonna happen.
I don't agree with you. I think that if someone walked up to you and was like, hey, I figured out how to bring back Jesus because I cloned this dead lamb, you would go... Yeah, that's not quite the same thing.
Yeah, but he knew secrets that they had kept. And so, like, he very clearly was like, I know more than I should. And they were like, I don't know, if an entire race of people was going to be enslaved, I think, yeah, fucking kill one guy to stop it from happening, even if there's a 5% chance.
Oh, a 5% chance is... No.
For an entire race of people to be enslaved?
You're going to start a war that gets them all killed over a 5% chance?
Yeah, they had to do something.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That is so extreme. You're saying that we should start a war over a 5% chance anytime it exists.
Well, not if there's another solution.
Wow, that is wildly extreme.
if someone was like, I am gonna, yeah, maybe that's a bad example.
I can't think of a good example of what you're saying right now.
I'm just saying that if Donald Trump died, there'd be, you know, like a lot of like bad stuff that happened, but it would probably be for the best.
Cool. How fun this conversation has gone. I'm
just saying.
I can't get on board with just like killing people to solve problems. I don't think that it does.
But Gavilar's like, hey, I'm gonna bring your gods back, and Eshonai's like, no, that's a really bad idea, and he's like, fuck you and your people, I'm gonna do it anyways. I'd be like, kill him.
Yeah, and then they got violently murdered and slowly chipped away at their...
Better than being slaves!
For 6 years, and then they ended up being slaves anyway.
What do you mean, anyway?
Odium still came back.
Okay,
they didn't stop it.
They couldn't have known that.
But they didn't. But killing Gavilar
just
didn't do
roll
fucking...
over and let it happen.
Killing Gavilar didn't do anything. It was a pointless exercise. Ultimately, right? It did not succeed at all.
Sure.
Because Gavilar's not like, I'm going to do it this week, right? Gavilar's like, I think I might have a way to do it eventually. And so it might have taken Gavilar 6 years whether he was alive or not. Like, ultimately, killing Gavilar was a pointless exercise because they made this wild assumption based on very little information that led to the destruction of their people.
Yeah.
Like
the destruction one way or the other.
And so
I'm just very anti-slavery, and so I'm like, well, any chance that we have to like not be enslaved is a good.
I think you're being very extreme by saying a 5% chance is worth it.
I mean, who knows if it's 5%, right? We don't know what that black sphere means. We don't know how hard the Parshendi have worked to like keep these secrets that Gavilar somehow knows. Like,
Kiev, thank you for those 10 gifted members.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's go. I'm just saying, it might have been a 50% chance based on the information given because we, as the reader, don't have full context for what it means.
Yeah. I vehemently disagree with everything my wife just said, but we need to move on. Eshonai weeps as she leaves the celebration.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not much of a celebration.
Yeah. Part 1, United, Chapter 1, Broken and Divided. Alright,
brave.
Yeah. So it's been 6 days since we got to Urithiru. The urethra is standing tall and firm because Dalinar Kholin is very hot under the collar for his wife.
Yeah.
And so we catch up with him. He has become a formal Knight Radiant, having bonded the Stormfather, and he can go watch his own visions, or the Almighty's visions whenever he wants. So we find him
very useful
on a cliff looking down at Kholinar as the storm blows through, and he's kind of like, oh, you know what? Kholinar's gonna be fine. It's gonna survive the Everstorm, which is hilarious because it is currently rioting and has been for over a week.
Yeah.
And so it might not fucking exist, Dalinar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's so certain the Everstorm's not gonna, like, destroy Kholinar. And I'm like, you literally can't contact this. It might be gone right now.
Yeah.
Just because the Almighty thought 3,000 years ago that it would be. I was like, Dalinar, you're making some wild assumptions at the moment.
Yeah.
And so he's looking down, and then he's like, take me down into the storm. I want to feel it. I want to get tickled on the taint by it.
I feel it in my bones.
And so as he's standing there, he sees dark red eyes in the storm with 9 shadows, which is just really a terrible lighting setup. If you have 9 different shadows, you really need to get a bit stronger key light to block out most of those, and then you need to figure out why you're being lit from so many angles. It's just never
How
good.
many lights do you have?
Yeah. How are there so many light sources inside of a storm?
I don't know. That's, yeah.
Anyway.
We should ask Paul.
The 9 shadows are clearly going to be 9 people for Kaladin to fight later on in the series.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They're going to be the fucking Forsaken of this series, right?
Oh, no, I didn't realize the shadows were... I thought it was like one baddie.
Well, but there's... Okay, and this gets into the problem of the way in which the Parshendi have been presented in these books, is that I'm not gonna enjoy reading a bunch of fights against the Parshendi.
I honestly
because
think it is a Parshendi who has 9 different spren. So they're like super powerful. Because they can't be Knights Radiant, but if they're a champion of Odium, maybe they can hold multiple forms at a time.
Scafandi, thank you about Super Chat. I too would spend all my time playing VR.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Dalinar's VR is just watching people die over and over again, though. It's not exactly
sad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What were you saying?
I forgot.
You were talking about
Oh, that it's just one person who is like 9 spren.
The only reason I don't think it's that is that if this whole series is just the Knights Radiant fighting Parshendi, I will actively not enjoy it.
But it's just one Parshendi.
But it can't be one person, right? Like, we can't
Why can't his champion be one person?
Because this series is set up to be a war series where there are big army battles.
Yeah.
And so if it's just armies fighting a single person, it's going to get real fucking lame.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not going to be that. There's a bunch of cults and stuff that we have to figure out.
No, I know. But my point is that...
There are thunderclasts.
Sure. And that, I'm more excited for us to be fighting those things than I am to just watch the Parshendi continuously get killed.
Yeah.
Because they can't control themselves. Like, that to me is just... That is a level of brutalization that I think now that we are 100% certain at the end of this week's reading that the Parshendi are not evil inherently.
Yeah.
That they are victims of this. If this whole series is just the Parshendi getting fucking murdered on the battlefield over and over and over again, that's gonna suck.
Oh, I'm sure it is not gonna be that.
No, 100%. But that's why I don't think that the Odium's champion is going to be like a Parshendi and his Parshendi army, right? Because I just think that as the audience of the book, Kaladin's already been reframed mentally about the Parshendi. And he is our true like POV character in this series, right?
Well, and maybe that's why it's going to be very difficult to fight this person because Kaladin understands that they're being possessed by an evil god.
Sure, and that's much more interesting than like, well, we just got to go keep murdering Parshendi for more books.
Yeah,
right?
No, I can't imagine that does not feel like that's where the book's going at all.
No, it doesn't. But that's just why I think. I really hope it isn't.
Yeah.
But it's why I think the book needs to introduce a different villain. Because otherwise, who are we fighting?
We've got Taravangian. We've got Ghost. We've got Darkness.
Yeah, but none of those people
Zeth.
have armies. I mean, I guess Taravangian does.
We don't know how big these cults are.
Yeah, that's fair. Amram, the Sons of Honor might have a legitimate army.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually might.
Yeah. Yeah, but, if now that we know how awful it was for the Parshmen to be slaves, if we just keep killing Parshmen...
I don't know why we would.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, if that was where this book went, it would get so depressing.
Yeah.
It would just, it would suck to read, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I would, even in the finale of the last book, I was like, this fight sucks. Like, I don't want the Alethi to win. I just want them to get out of there. Because these poor Parshendi. And...
Yeah.
So I don't want to just have a bunch of large battles where that's all I'm thinking is like, oh, these poor Parshendi, they don't deserve any of this.
Yeah.
They've never fucking done anything to deserve
except Venli.
The way they're treated.
Venli fucking sucks.
Yeah, Venli sucks. Yeah. For sure.
Fucking hate Venli. The worst sister ever.
Daniel Klauser. Daniel Klauser says, the question is, do you think Sanderson understands what he's doing with the Parshendi? I don't know yet. There was some really problematic stuff in the Final Wheel of Time books that he wrote, particularly related to the slaves. It's
so hard to know what he
wrote.
But
it's tough to know what it was him and what was Robert Jordan.
Yeah.
I feel like he handled it much better in the Mistborn trilogy. And so I'm not sure yet. I think that I've had... and those were also much earlier in his career. And so I think right now... I don't know. I want to believe that we're headed in a good direction with this. And I think that this week's reading did a lot to help me frame that. And I think that...
yeah, we'll get to those parts because they were really good.
But, a lot of the time when I think about Brandon Sanderson in this, I think about the moment he wrote with Matt and the Dakoval girl. And having Matt sexualize the Dakoval girl and think that it is okay even though, and this is a bit of a spoiler, but it's not really a plot thing. It's just this weird offhand moment that is so unrelated to anything, and that Brandon Sanderson put into, I think it's the second last book, where, you know, Matt has the thought of like, well, if I wasn't supposed to ogle her, she wouldn't be wearing a thing that she did not decide to wear.
Yeah.
And that moment has always really stuck in my craw around what Brandon Sanderson chose to write there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
All
so
right, I need to jump in here. Please stop. Arazu will call things when they are called. You don't need to at them every time you think there is a thing. Just let Arazu do their job. They're very good at it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's just how I feel. I that moment of writing has always made me a little bit nervous with Brandon Sanderson's, like, constantly writing in these sort of slavery classes into his books.
Yeah.
That we'll get something like that. And maybe that's not fair, because that might have been a Robert Jordan thing that...
And that's
where it gets
we'll
weird.
Never know.
Yeah.
I'm like, who knows who wrote that particular page or sentence or whatever it is. Because that just feels like such an offhanded thing that I'm sure most people don't really think about.
Yeah.
But we've really deep dived into these books, so yeah. It's tough.
Yeah, just interesting. And so I'm curious where we're headed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think this week's reading did a lot to, like, the again, like I said, like, the Parshendi stuff was a lot of my favorite stuff this week. So when we get to it, we'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sadius is dead.
Yeah, so Sadius is dead.
Great. Yeah. 1 hour in, and we know chapter 1.
We know that the 9 shadows are something, because they're the Unmade. They've been given a name. They are the Unmade.
It could be Spren.
Oh, they could be the 9 heralds.
Wow.
Who walked away.
There are 10 though.
But only 9 walked away.
Oh, you think that they literally walked away from their fucking torture pact and then became like devils?
I mean, they're called the Unmade, right?
I don't know if I've ever heard the heralds be called the Unmade.
No, this is the first time we've heard the Unmade was in this POV.
Yeah.
We've never heard the heralds who walked away called anything, because no one knows they walked away. Everyone thinks the heralds are going to come back again. Right? Everyone is sure that when the desolation comes, the heralds will return. But they're not going to. The tragedy of it is that we know that the heralds aren't coming back, they don't.
Well, actually, yeah, Darkness could be an Unmade.
Yeah.
He's a fucking sociopath.
Darkness is working with Zeth. He's got Nightblood.
Because Talanet is the one that got left behind, right? And
yes.
He is the one that we've met.
Yes.
That was, like, locked up that Amaram tried. Yeah, okay.
Apparently the diagram talked about the Unmade. I'll have to go back and read that, but...
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fuck, I don't know. But yeah, if there's 9 of them... And, Darkness is one of the Unmade. I would buy that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Total Sadius is dead.
Aw, shucks.
So we
sad.
are with Adolin. Adolin is doing his princely duties of... My bed is one of the Unmade. Thank you, Mako Kyosuke, for that super chat.
Same.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
It's not lost on me that the 9 is...
Is the Lord of the Rings reference?
Yeah. Also, someone was like, "Oh, the 9 are the Mighty 9," but the joke of the Mighty 9 is that there's not 9 of them. There's 7.
Right. I think you explained this to me one day, and I forgot.
Well, because it's 9, the German no, not the number 9.
Yeah.
But when they introduce themselves, people are like, "But there's 7 of you." Like, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Watch Critical Role. It's great.
The Mighty No.
That's what their name is.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So Adolin is doing his princely duty. He is welcoming people. He's getting really angry about where people are bringing the wine and beer. He's like, "No, all of the inns go to this place." And
my dad said this.
Despite not being able to read, and despite the fact that he shouldn't be doing math because he's a man, I'm joking. I know that men do math in this world.
It will never not be funny, though.
I know, but I already see the fucking comments. People are like, "Oh, actually, you've got..." And, like, I know. A messenger shows up and is like, "Hey, something's been found on the 3rd floor." And Adolin's like, "I bet they fucking did." We cut over to Dalinar, who has to rush in and stop Bridge 4 and Sadius' guys from fighting.
They're like, the Bridge 4 murdered him. And Navani's like, y'all are fucking stupid. He's been dead, bleeding out here for a while. I don't know why you're all so stupid. I'm surrounded by idiots.
Yeah, and so everybody kind of shows up and is like, hey, Sadeas is dead. And that sucks. Dalinar's like, I don't know what to do about this. Let's move on. Shalan, Renarin, go practice. You got to get good at your superpowers.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. Dalinar has a really good, perspective here, though, of being like, we lost so many officers, unnamed people we've never met before in the Everstorm. And so we actually need all the officers to still be alive because we need as many people as possible.
Anyone with any amount of training. And
I feel like that is a very naive point of view here. And having Sadeas actively working to undermine you in this space would have been bad. I just think that Dalinar is better off without Sadeas here.
100%.
Everyone else can see it.
100%. And Dalinar later on is like, yeah, it's honestly probably for the best. He's like, I would never have gone so far as to have him killed, but I'm not mad he's dead. Like,
the problem with Chains of Command is if there is somebody who is as smart as you are, who leads enough people, there's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And Sadeas, you just can't trust Sadeas.
No.
Yeah.
No, we really, really can't. He kind of is the worst. Chapter 3 is Momentum. This is a flashback.
Yeah.
Very fun. This is obviously Dalinar's book, which is why I think that the epigraphs are written by Dalinar. I am 99.999%
Well, not written.
Dictated.
He can't read.
Okay. Whatever. Could you imagine just Navani adds like footnotes? Please tell me that this book has Navani like extra footnotes.
That'd be fun.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dalinar is gonna go kill some people. It's basically him
just fighting.
Just murdering people. He's got his like group of elites who are with him, who are like really good fighters.
Doesn't currently have plate or blade.
No, this is like pre-plate blade.
Yeah.
And he kills the one prince guy. Right? Yeah. He kills a local Bright Lord. Kills Prince, and then some guy shoots an arrow at him from 400 paces. Crazy. And Dalinar is like, over there. And so they go and they take this archer guy who's trying to fucking...
You guys keep fighting. We're gonna go recruit someone really quick.
Yeah. This guy, he's got talent. Actually, Dalinar is Simon Cowell in this moment. And he's like, wait a minute. This guy has got talent. And he goes and recruits this archer who's like, as long as you spare my high prince. And Dalinar's like, oh, sorry, he's already dead, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, but he's not even that. He's like, oh, you're crown prince. And he turns to the guy with him and is like,
was that the guy?
Yeah, that's the guy you just killed, sir.
Shit.
I know. So
Oops, my bad.
And then he gets back down the hill and we meet young Sadeas, who is disappointed that Dalinar made a deal to protect the town to get this archer on his team, because Sadeas was really excited to rape the women that his men were lining up for him to rape. So,
yeah,
that's
really not mad Sadeas is dead.
Yeah.
Like, truly, like, not upset in the slightest about it.
Yeah.
God damn. Yeah, the worst. They're all terrible. Hey, none of them get raped, though, because Dalinar makes a deal with this archer guy. So that's good, I guess.
This town is safe.
Yeah, totally fine. It's gonna be all good.
I kind of just want the Parshendi to win.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing that's interesting about these flashbacks is talking about the thrill.
Yeah.
Because Dalinar is definitely convinced that it's like a very bad, no good thing, and so am I.
Well, okay, but
it's a thing that only the Alethi feel, and I think it's because the Alethi fucking stole the Parshendi souls, and that it's like part of Odium's like control of the Alethi. Because the soul, like they talk about souls, right? And so I say souls in quotations. What? I think the thrill is of Odium. But
it is related to an individual spren, right? And so...
Which is probably an odium spren, like a void spren.
Sure, but the thrill is weird because they set up that the thrill is an Alethi advantage. But the thrill would exist wherever that spren is, so I don't really understand... I was under the impression that the thrill didn't choose sides.
Oh, it's only the Alethi who feel it, yeah.
But...
Which is...
Why?
Well, because I think that the Alethi are descendants of, like, the previous Radiants that, like, stopped the Voidbringers, stole the Parshendi souls, and now they're, like, the Alethi are kind of...
Oh, there are Parshmen all over the planet.
Undoing. Parshmen?
There are Parshmen all over the planet.
Yeah,
not just
now
in
they are. Yeah, but it's been how many hundreds, thousands of years?
Oh, so you're thinking that this all happened in one place. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. No, I think that they have to be tied to one another somehow, right? Because the
No, actually, Hartley Noss is right. The Taravangian talks about it being strong in the Civil War in Yakaved. So it can't be just the Alethi.
Dalinar says specifically it is an Alethi thing.
No, he says it's considered the Alethi advantage, but I don't understand.
No, he said only the Alethi feel the thrill. That is in this section.
Right, but Taravangian says that's not true. Taravangian says that the thrill moved to Verdanar for the Civil War. Yeah, no, I remember that in the diagram.
They're very intermingled, right? They're right beside one another. There's a lot of like crossover between the Yakaved kingdom and the Alethi kingdom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, weird. I wish that the thrill had been explained differently in Way of Kings. I wish it had been set up differently. Because
at first I was like, oh, it's adrenaline.
And the original explanation of it just felt like adrenaline. I was like, oh, yeah, that's battle adrenaline. That's a thing that exists. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that it is sort of a magical in addition to that, I wish that it had felt different at the beginning. Because I feel like I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
I don't. I think it's really fun and interesting that it's evolved. Because it was a thing that was like, the seed was planted at the beginning, but it's like, hey, we have other shit to get to. We'll talk about this later. So I think it's fun that it's clearly become something else, something more ominous, something darker than what I originally believed it to be.
Yeah. There's some validity to that, yeah. You're right.
We were like, oh, the thrill? That's weird. It's just adrenaline. Like, you know, and now we're like, oh, no, it's pretty sus. But I think that it has something to do with a spren. Like, I feel like it has
you're right.
to be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I still feel weird about the thrill.
And I think we're supposed to, because Dalinar also feels weird
100%.
about
Yeah,
it, right?
no.
He's like, ooh, actually, maybe this not good. Very bad. Very bad, actually.
This series really has so many different ways in which it takes agency away from its characters and almost excuses their actions by making it magic bullshit as the reasoning why they do things.
Who? Sorry, what?
Well, like, the Parshendi are evil because they're possessed, but they don't want to be. The Alethi end up being more violent than they want to be because the thrill affects them in battle. And so they're like, their choices...
Or are they violent, and so the spren is attracted to the Alethi?
I don't understand what you mean.
Like, is the thrill a spren that is attracted to Alethi because the Alethi are violent, or are the Alethi violent because...
I don't like racial... but then that gets into they are more violent because of they're genetically more violent is a very, like, weird line to tiptoe.
But that's why I'm connecting it to this event that happened, where they, like, broke the Parshendi souls, right? And it allowed odium to have a negative effect on these people.
Sure, but that is still, like... You are ethnically more violent because your like great ancestors did something, which is a weird like agency question around like these characters and what their decision making is. Making a race of people ethnically violent because of magic is different than they are brought up to be more violent because their society's fucked.
Okay.
Right? Like if you're saying like, well, the Alethi teach violence as a traditional thing, that is different to me than, oh no, the Alethi are just violent because there is a evil god that makes them more violent because of something their ancestors did. And so now there's like this like ethnic violence in them is just like a...
Okay.
I don't know.
It's just a theory, right? Like, at this point, obviously, I have no solid information. It's wild speculation.
Yeah.
So, it really, it might not be anything to do with that. But I do think that it has to have something to do with a spren. Like, that I do... That just seems like it fits. I don't know. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I don't know where we're going with it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. It's so fascinating. But because it's being treated like a mystery, I just don't know.
Well, and I do wish that hopefully we get it soon. I wish that I do had clarification on who can actually feel the thrill.
I think that anyone can, depending on where the spren that makes it happen is.
So you also think it's a spren?
Yeah, because it can move. It's got to be something.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Official ACM, but does Faith teach that because they were a warrior culture first and they wanted to reinforce that? Or did they become a warrior culture because they decided to be warriors? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll find out. We'll get there eventually. Chapter 4. Wait, yeah. What happened in chapter 3? This was the flashback.
Kevin says, if it is one thing I've learned during book clubs and reactions, it's Nerdy doesn't like mystery as much as I do.
True.
I don't think that's fair. I enjoy mystery. I sometimes find placing the context for how the world works as a mystery frustrating. I enjoy plot mystery more than I enjoy... Because the thrill being a thing to reveal can at times be a little bit frustrating because it gets in the way of my ability to understand why characters behave the way that they do.
Okay.
In a way, does that make sense? Like, there's an element
Depends on the kind of mystery, then.
There's an element of the way in which Brandon Sanderson makes fucking everything a mystery that sometimes feels a little bit unnecessary. And
you're like, I just wish that I understood a little bit better how the world works,
so that I could get more engaged in the mystery of Odium.
Right, yeah.
But like Odium being a mystery, and I understand that he wants to reveal it all at the end of his books, but I think that is also like a byproduct of me knowing when the reveals are going to be in his books because he never changes his structure. So like that is a little bit tired to me.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm a little bit tired, I think, of Brandon Sanderson's structure because he's so consistent that like I know that I'm going to find out about the thrill in the final 100 pages of one of the next 3 books. I know where it's going to be because it's just that's when everything happens.
Right. And
maybe Oathbringer is the one where he changes that, right? And I think that I'm really going to love the Brandon Sanderson book where he tries something else. I really do. I think when he does something different, I'm going to be very enthralled with watching him try something else.
Right.
But he's so consistent that at times I'm going, all right, well, all of this is just going to be mystery for 6 more weeks because I know when he's going to drop information.
Yeah, I think that, like, us choosing Sanderson, though, really lends itself to book club because so many people are here because they like to see us try and guess the most wildest fucking things.
Caltrack! Whoa, what the fuck?
Thank you for that super duper chat, guys.
Yeah, holy damn. First time catching book club live. I figured since I've consumed more hours of entertainment from you two than the entire run of The Simpsons, that's...
What?
That's crazy. I mean, I guess every episode of book club is 9 episodes of The Simpsons. Right?
That's
at least 9. Here's some money. Keep it the good work. Caltrack, thank you so much. That is beyond generous.
Wow,
thank you so much. That's wild.
You want to go for brunch after this?
We have to go to IKEA and have meatballs.
Oh, thank you for the IKEA meatballs.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to IKEA to get some stuff for the house.
And thank you so much.
It's gonna be an expensive trip, so gonna just give that right to IKEA.
So I think that what I struggle with the mysteries in Brandon Sanderson books isn't that I don't enjoy mystery, because I love a fucking mystery novel, right?
It's just
I love a mystery movie.
So many mysteries on top of one another that you're like, I feel like I don't know the people in the book,
and I know when the answers are coming. Because I think there's so little tension in Brandon Sanderson books for me right now, because I know when things are going to happen in them.
Yeah.
And I know that we're going to do what this week of reading does, which is kind of meander through some character stuff that's kind of fun. Yeah. That has some interesting setups for some mysteries. And I can tell you the place in the book where it's going to become relevant.
Yeah.
And so the mystery is kind of gone for me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's not hiding around any corner.
Yeah.
It's hiding behind page 1000. Or however, wherever the Sanderledge starts. And Yeah, I think that it's that. In a way where, like, if we read Mistborn now, I wonder if I would love those books as much.
Because you've already read some Sanderson stuff and you're like,
or would I have the same, like, would Sanderson's style and his structure was fun and new when we were reading Mistborn.
Yeah. Well, Blue was like, that's why we wanted to try and get you to read other books in between, which I think is absolutely valid. Our problem was that we wanted to get to the TTRPGs. We're like, all right, we're going to keep going. We're going to do Oathbringer, sorry. Like, I think that the TTRPG game really, like, pushed us to focus on so much Sanderson because, we wanted to do Expanse, and we will do Expanse, and we wanted to do other things, but we were like, oh no, we want to play the game. So I think that, a little bit of that is our own fault. Because, Sanderson's got his thing, and I think he does it really well most of the time. But it is definitely like, I'm reading a Brandon Sanderson book.
Dreamshake Junior says, lol, don't we kind of know where the mysteries are going to be revealed in Mysteries 2? No, we always know there's going to be a reveal at the end, but most mystery novels have twists and turns that recontextualize the book every act, essentially, right? And so the book kind of... A good mystery novel should have 5 twists. And you should have 5 acts. And each twist should recontextualize the story into the next act, right? And that's kind of how mysteries are... I look at The Glass Onion as a perfect version of this, right? There is a twist in the middle of that movie that changes the way you look at the entirety of the film for the second half. Excited Bleeny says, can you react to Ready or Not? Unfortunately, we can't. I did see that opening night in theaters, and I loved it. The twist in Ready or Not, though, there's a twist right at the beginning of the movie that recontextualizes very early, and then there's another one in the middle, and then there's a really great one at the end. This, Brandon Sanderson it's at the end, and it's a battle, and there's reveals that happen mid-battle, and then the book ends. And it's not bad. Like, I feel like this is individually, I think it's good. I just think that after, we're 10 books now straight? 9 books straight? 7? 8? 8 books. 8. This is the 8th Brandon Sanderson book we've read in a row. I'm just kind of like, I just know what's going on. I know where we're at in a Brandon Sanderson book right now. For sure. No, and I think that is definitely part of it, right? Like, it is influencing how we feel in some way or another, and... But this goes back to Way of Kings, where I said, I wish there was something in the middle that recontextualized it as we go forward. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that what could have been in that one would have been Tian's death. But by the time we got to Tian's death, I was aware that Tian died in the army. Like, Tian's death wasn't a twist, because we had known from the future, or the present, rather, that it was going to be one of the flashbacks. When we got to the Tian's death flashback, I was like, oh my god, Tian died. I was like, oh yeah, this is the chapter where we watched Tian's death happen.
Right.
Because we already knew that it had happened. And so it's why I keep saying, like, I just wish he added something that resolved in the middle of the book so that we could contextualize the plot. But because these plot lines are so... far away from one another, it's hard for something to happen in the middle of the plot that recontextualizes the novel, or the story rather, mid-book, because everyone is so far from one another that you almost, like, because he spreads his plots out amongst all of these things, it would actually be really hard for something to happen in the middle of any of his books that affects everything.
Well, and I think it's also having multiple plot lines that are following the exact same structure between like different people, and also the flashbacks. Like everything in the book kind of like ramps to a specific part of the book, and so I think that emphasizes the structure because there are so many things that are driving towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Judah, thank you for that super chat. I think part of why I enjoyed Sanderson's styles, because while a lot is revealed in Sanderland, she peppers things in that if you're manic and crazy like me, you can go back and find the reveals sooner. I think that there's
it's
great
very fun
stuff
on a
for
reread.
rereads.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Or I know people like on their first read through, like some people like consume books like that. And I feel like in a way, like we kind of do, but we just kind of do it off the cuff, where we're like, what if it's this? And it's just like kind of crazy ass shit, and maybe some of it like sticks. We are halfway through book club though, and we have 15 more chapters to get through. So
get going then.
You have the freaking. I need you to scroll through the notes.
Oh my god.
Like we've been on the same chapter this whole time. Because you're gonna want to watch that football game.
Go. What? You're still talking about this? What did I scrolled for you?
Wow.
You're like, scroll for me, and then I scroll, and you're like, and then you're fucking talking about me. Talk about the book.
I was making a joke about that you like to watch football.
I do, but like, you don't have to call me out for it.
I legally am obligated, actually. Chapter 4.
Yeah.
Is Dalinar's talking to Storm. Oh wow, you're not even. All right.
We're halfway through book club and we're on chapter 4. Could you?
All right. Apparently, I'm doing book club by myself today.
You just called us out on time, and then you.
And you're like, I'm gonna fuck off and check my phone then.
I'm sorry. I'm talking to our editor about the video that we're trying to get up today.
I know, because my phone is also buzzing.
You could help me by just pushing through instead of stopping us again. The Everstorm comes to a couple days after Sadius again, so we know that it's going to keep coming around.
Thank you, Arzu.
What?
No, it was just funny. The Stormfather says that the Everstorm wasn't a thing last time.
Yeah.
This is a new thing that wasn't part of the Desolations before, which is why I'm a little bit confused as to why they are calling these the Desolations when they're not the Desolations. They are a new thing. But I guess Dalinar didn't share that with anybody. Or maybe
it's like those Christian like prophets that are always predicting what the next apocalypse is going to be, and it's never actually an apocalypse because they survive every time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like they keep calling them the Desolations, but like they always survive them.
I mean, yeah. Apparently they get worse and worse every time.
I guess. This one doesn't seem that bad right now.
Well, but they do talk about how in the past, every time a desolation happened, it set them further and further and further back. Like, they lost so much. And so I think it's like, they talk about how Odium has nothing but time. This is just the beginning, and it's just going to only get worse and worse and worse. But anyways, Navani and Dalinar are horny. This book is very horny. And Dalinar's like, no, we have to be married first. And she's like, oh my god, okay, sure, I guess. And he's like, it's fine. I'm going to ask the Stormfather to marry us.
Yeah.
Oh, Dalinar is also like, yeah, so, my ex. Don't remember that person at all. No idea. Did some magic shit that I don't understand. Can't remember their name. Can't remember anything about them.
It's nice that he was honest with her before they got married.
Yes.
I appreciated that.
I also did appreciate that. It was like very like close to when they got married because they literally get married in like the next paragraph. But
yeah.
Michelle Yeoh for Navani.
That'd be good casting.
Damn. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat, Judica.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love that.
Then can we have Ki-Hee Kwan play Dalinar?
No.
With his little glasses.
No, that's Renarin.
No, he's too old to be Renarin.
Yeah.
He could be Sabarial.
Yeah.
That would be very funny.
Yeah. 100%. Then who's Polona?
Selma Hayek.
Great.
Yeah. And then Pedro Pascal can be Lopin.
Sure. We'll do a casting at the end of Oathbringer because we're gonna have a bunch of new characters to cast. Anyways, they get married. It's a cute little ceremony on the rooftop, and Elhokar is a little salty about it at first, but he seems to be all right.
I don't know. I think he handled getting a stepdad at his age pretty well.
Yeah, and especially as the king getting a stepdad, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Kadash is there, who is an ardent who used to be friends with Dalinar, and Kadash is like, "Wow, you really fucked up, my dude." And Dalinar's
he's one of
like,
the elites in the flashback.
"Oh, I missed that."
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, he was one of Dalinar's elites back in the Warren days. The Warren Vorens.
Right.
The Warren Vorens. That's a pretty good sports team.
The Warren Vorens.
The Warren Vorens.
Oh, man. Yeah. Kadash definitely implies some real spicy stuff that Dalinar did. And I don't mean spicy in, like, sexy. I mean spicy in, like, probably very bad. But Dalinar doesn't remember, so...
Yeah, except for all of the raping and pillaging.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like, the flashback with Sadeas was like, but they were lining up women for me to rape. Like,
yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Dalinar do that yet, but I'm not saying that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's yeah.
Whatever that day is. We don't know what that day is.
That day. Yet. I'm assuming that is the day that
Evie died?
Yeah, exactly.
Something to do with his wife.
Yeah, just some war crimes.
Chapter 5, Hearthstone.
That should have been the Weird Al version instead of word crimes. Should have been war crimes. Would have been a really dark song.
Don't know that that's a topic Weird Al wants to try and make comedy out of.
He won't even swear, so probably not.
Yeah, I just can't see him being like, we drop phosphorus gas on the citizenry.
Oh my god. I want that. You know, he was supposed to be in Hazbin Hotel.
Oh, that makes sense.
But he was like, I won't swear. And they were like, no, sorry, not gonna work.
He doesn't swear at all?
No, apparently not. I know. He kind of touches on it in Party in the CIA. That's 100% true, actually.
He swears in that?
No, they talk about war crimes. They like waterboard people and like just like yeah. No, you're right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wild. I can't imagine not swearing. I have such a dirty mouth.
I know.
And I'm doing like a children's musical right now, and every day in the theater I'm like, oh my god,
like,
I need to be careful. Well, because we do
no smut corner.
The show that I'm doing has talkbacks after every show. Like, where we go out and answer questions from the kids. And I'm like, oh. And I think that once I'm in front of children, my brain will click in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but because we're here
different.
And, like, if you're a child, we ban you from our online stuff.
Yeah, we're degenerates.
Like, I don't care here. I think I will care once kids are in front of me. But I'm also worried I'm going to be like, you know, when you're like, fucking... And I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah.
100%. Chapter 5 is Kaladin finally gets to Hearthstone.
Kind of. So he runs out of Stormlight and has to walk.
Yeah. He goes
For
most
3
of the
days.
way. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
I
do one of the things
Cal's like, everybody's gonna be dead. Cal, you are literally Cal. You have like this like rampant anxiety of like, I imagine the worst case scenario. He's like, everyone's gonna be fucking murdered, the town's gonna be destroyed. And everything's actually like alright.
Everything's so fine.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the food stores got destroyed and a bunch of homes got destroyed. So, you know, it's not perfect, but it could have been worse. None of the Parshendi attacked, so.
Yeah. It's so fascinating, the way in which this magic system works. Very differently from Mistborn, where Mistborn is a consistent use of metals, and you can get better at the use of the metals, but the power is the same. Whereas in Stormlight, you can burn Stormlight more efficiently based on how many oaths you've said. So, like, Kaladin will be able to fly further on the same amount of Stormlight. It's not like gas, right? Where, like, it wouldn't matter what...
hybrid.
maybe. There's just something interesting about, like, you can use you will be able to do bigger stuff with the same amount of Stormlight the further down the Oath path you get. Because he's like, I might be able to make that flight on that amount of Stormlight eventually, I just can't right now.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
There's something about efficiency in use as the Oaths get better.
Yeah, you like
I don't
add
understand
an extra
yet, but...
like battery or something.
But no, it's not an extra battery.
No, it's efficiency. Yeah,
it's efficiency. It's the same battery.
Yeah.
But the way in which you're using it is more efficient.
Yeah, it's
which like modern cars, right? Like we used to get like 8 miles per gallon out of a fucking out of a Dodge whatever. And now it's like...
Out of a Dodge.
I think that my car is like 45 miles per gallon. Which is, you know, a crazy difference.
My Hummer is dead, but I'll see what I can do.
But it's not just going to be in distance, right? Like, I think Shalan will be able to create more elaborate illusions with the same amount of Stormlight. I think it's going to affect everybody. Renarin will be able to heal more people for the same amount of Stormlight as he gets stronger.
Right, yeah.
Because we found out that Renarin has healing powers.
So do you think then that Shalan will be able to move more people with the Oath Gates as she gets stronger? Or do you think the Oath Gates are fixed? That it's not actually her use of Stormlight?
Oh, so a more... that's a good point.
Because I don't know if it's dependent on Shalan's ability or if it's like the Oath Gates are locked into a certain like amount.
That's an interesting point. So do they only have top tier Radiants running Oath Gates?
That's your retirement?
Yeah.
For sure.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. I don't know. I
No, but it's also like, I don't know, because it's not their inherent power and it is based on how many people you're bringing. Because I don't think it's a lot of Stormlight to move a person. It was a lot of Stormlight to move an army.
Thousands of people, yeah, for sure. I don't know. It was just a thought.
Like, once they get everybody up there, the actual, like, amount of Stormlight they're using to move things will probably be less once they get the farms up there going. But until they can figure out how to get the farms on Urithiru going, the problem is the amount of Stormlight they're using to bring food up.
Yeah.
But once they're growing their own food up there, like the amount of Stormlight they're using up there will go down over time, but I don't think it's because the Radiants are going to get stronger. It's going to be because they're going to have to move less stuff.
Right, yeah. I wonder if it's like amount of Stormlight per pound or per like kilogram as opposed to like the number of things.
It has to be by weight.
Yeah.
Because they're moving food. If they could only move people, it would be different.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then it could be by soul or something like that. But
anyways, Kaladin gets to Hearthstone and punches Rashon in the face. It's great.
His father's there. There's Gloomspren, which apparently are very rare for some reason, despite the fact that Kaladin feels gloomy all the fucking time.
Oh no, Gloomspren are rare for most other people. They're not for Kaladin.
I mean, this is the first time they've been mentioned in the 3 books we've read.
Nope. No, Kaladin had Gloomspren.
Did he?
At least once before. I remember it being mentioned.
Oh, I don't remember Gloomspren. Interesting.
I'm almost positive Gloomspren came up before.
Then we get 4 lifetimes. Kaladin is in the manor. He hasn't punched Rashon yet. He goes around the manor and he's talking to everybody. He goes and he finds his parents.
Sorry, I thought he punched him. Yeah.
No, he goes to find his dad first. And he kind of breaks down and tells them about Tian's death, which of course they know because they got his letter. But
yeah, but they also thought that he was dead, right?
Yeah.
And so this is like, yeah.
And so
yeah.
Kaladin sips some soup. And a guard comes in and is basically giving Liren a hard time about his slave brand and what's going on with his forehead. Syl is like, yeah, your mom is so familiar. Like, I know her from before I met you because we're all connected in the circle of life.
Pretty much, yeah.
And don't know what that means.
I don't know.
But she brings up, there's another voice, pure with a song like trapped crystal, distant yet demanding. What is the pure song like crystal voice that Syl's hearing around Kaladin's mom?
Spren.
Okay, but if it was an honor Spren, I think that Syl would know.
Yeah.
So I think that Cal's mom has a cultivation spren.
Well, yeah, because Wendell has weird crystally things, right? The vines turn into crystals and fall away.
I got the vibe that there was a spren going on that Syl wouldn't recognize, and so it had to be something kind of unrelated to her, and so I think there's a cultivation thing going on here.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I feel that. Judah, thank you for that super chat. Cal reuniting with his parents makes me so emotional every time I read it. It's by far one of my favorite scenes Brandon Sanderson has written. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It was really well done.
Oh man, yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, the moment that they all just share over like being together, but also like the loss of Tien, and just like, yeah, just that, I don't know.
Well, and we're going to later find out that Kaladin has a new brother, and I'm glad they didn't bring that brother up here, because it could have felt like Kaladin's like, Tien died, and they're like, oh yeah, well, we have a replacement.
Yeah.
And so by separating those two things, I think Brandon Sanderson allowed for both moments to have the full impact that they needed.
Yeah.
And I thought that was some really good writing.
Yeah, 100%.
And so Rashon shows up, and he's like, you motherfucker. And then Kaladin finally gets his ass in gear, stops being a little child sipping soup on the ground, and walks over and punches that motherfucker right in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, Kaladin.
Yeah, well done.
Syl is like, you need to be better. And I'm like, Syl, you can protect people from
like,
dying.
No, Syl is like, he probably deserved
that. But then after that, she's given him, like, you need to be better eyes. And, like, Syl, let Kaladin punch a couple of people in the face.
Here's the thing.
He's saving the world. He gets a couple of, like, non-lethal hits to the face on a couple of little douchebags.
I don't know. I think that if you want to be a leader, or want maybe is the wrong word because people are kind of thrust into it. If you're a leader, you do have to hold yourself to, like, a higher standard, but I'm also glad that he did punch him, so.
I think the higher standard is he didn't take a shard blade and run it through his fucking chest. The higher standard is he punched him one time.
Yeah, it's one punch is not that bad.
Hartley Noss, yeah, Cal tells himself he needs to be better. It's not something Syl says. No, but he looks over and Syl is giving him eyes about it. Before he says it to himself. Rashon is just so far below him now that it feels petty. The dude starved his family. One punch.
One punch!
It's one punch, guys. It's okay to one punch a guy.
Yeah, it's fine.
He's fine. I don't think he even broke his nose. Rashon's gonna have a little fucking bruise for a minute. Kaladin didn't have an oath to fucking not punch Rashon in the face, so Syl needs to get her little eyeballs off of him.
He would still protect Rashon's life if it was endangered, but he can still, like, punch.
Yeah.
It is petty, but it is deserved. Like, all of this is true.
I don't think it's petty at all.
Oh, for sure.
Punching Rashon because he was, like, critical of his dad. Oh, you know, like the thing Rashon was upset about?
Punching an old dude who can't defend himself is always going to be a little bit petty.
Nah, the guy got multiple people killed, and his consequences were that he got punched one time. It's not even petty at that point.
I'm saying all of these things are true.
Rashon got a very deserved punch that was far less than he deserved. I can't call it petty. I just can't.
I can.
If someone punched Elon Musk in the face right now, I wouldn't be like, that was petty. I'd be like, yeah, he probably deserved it.
Yeah, but like...
And Elon Musk hasn't well, actually, I can't say that Elon...
What?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Elon Musk might be responsible for people's deaths. We don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of mining operations. Anyway, Kaladin's internal monologue said he felt petty over it. Yeah, because Syl's being a judgmental, like, bad friend right now. Syl needs to support him in his violence here. This is the one punch that I think Syl should have been like...
Here's the thing. We can talk about this in, like, stories, but, like, if you walked up to someone and, like, punched them in the face, even if they absolutely deserve it, I'd be like...
I have punched people in the face for far less. I've punched people in the face for far less than getting 2 people murdered because they wanted their silver to do... If you judged me for punching a murderer in the face,
We have a legal system.
I would be upset.
We have a legal system.
Nah, you know...
If you punched a fucking 75-year-old man, I'd be like...
Rashon isn't 75. He's slightly older than Kaladin, but he's not. He's like Kaladin's dad's age.
If I thought he was like.
If I punched a 75-year-old in the face versus punching a 50-year-old in the face would be too. Yeah. If I punched a 75, like if I walked up and punched Trump in the face, I would feel bad. He probably shit himself when I did it, but like I'm not talking about. Rashon isn't like Taravangian.
I always pictured him to be, but I don't know.
No. Rashon is like Ellikar's age.
Can we punch Weinstein in the face? That's a good question.
Rashon is younger than Dalinar and Ellikar, or Dalinar and Gavilar, because he was Ellikar's friend.
Oh, I thought he was like a bad older influence on him, but I actually don't know.
Sure,
I just imagined him to be old.
I think Rashon is like 40.
Well, he is pathetic, so.
Yeah, but he's not a 75-year-old man.
I don't know.
Chloe, thank you so much for that super chat. I think we attribute far more of Kaladin's own feeling to Syl's influence rather than Syl being willing to outwardly affect Kaladin's values.
Wait.
I don't know. I think that if you had someone on your shoulder who was constantly judging everything that you did based on your oaths. Actually, no, he's twice as old as Kaladin. Yeah, but Kaladin's only 19, so he's like 38. Like, he's not that old.
Nicholas, yeah, once you actually hit 69 years old, it's sad to punch that person in the face now. That's
Nicholas Reed is asking the real question. What is the correct crime to age ratio to justify a punch?
It's like the hot crazy scale.
Because, like, look, there's that, like, 106-year-old that just got thrown in prison because they were a Nazi back in World War II. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to lie. If someone punched them in the face, no judgment.
Yeah.
Because we punch Nazis here. That's very important.
Here's the problem, is that it probably would kill him, and then, like,
yeah, he's like 40. Punching a 40-year-old man in the face for murdering people is not that bad.
Okay. Hear me out, though. 40 on Roshar is different than 40 years old here because they have more days.
It's not that different. Dalinar is still fighting on the fucking battlefield.
I know. I'm just being a little shit disturber.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Rashon deserved that punch in the face.
100%.
His guards are basically like, we're not gonna arrest him because we should all just forget that happened.
Yeah, because they go, ugh, and Kaladin's like, settle down, son.
He's like, pathetic. Excuse me.
I do like he's like, rust on your cap? Ugh. How dare you?
Yeah, you guys are disgusting. I am ashamed at you. You call yourselves soldiers.
Yeah. As if Rashon is keeping, like, great guards when Amoram takes anyone of, like, actual combat value.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they go chat in private. Kaladin is like, we should go talk in private. And Rashon is like, what makes you think I should listen to you? And Kaladin summons Syl. And he's like, okay. Now that your eyes are blue, I will, listen.
Oh, yeah.
Judah, thank you for that super chat. Kaladin got that Azzy. What's that?
ASI?
Put it all into charisma.
That ASI. That ASI. I don't know what the ability score increase.
Oh.
I did not put that together at all.
No, I was like.
And so then we get into a really...
That's why you pick a feat. Anyways.
Then we get into a conversation between Syl and Kaladin while Rashon is in the room.
This confused me so bad because I was like, did Rashon just listen to half a conversation and is like, oh, this dude is fucking insane?
As Kaladin is standing in a room with Rashon.
Yeah. Talking
about genders of swords and spears. But
yeah, she's like, wait, so
Rashon
you don't wanna...
can only hear half of a conversation about spears having genders.
Yeah, she's like, so you don't want to wield me because I'm a woman? And Kaladin's like,
well, no, it's not because you're a woman. And Rashon's like, what the fuck is this man talking about? Right.
Either he heard half of a conversation or Rashon watched Kaladin be like...
it would be so funny it would be less funny if they had set up that Kaladin could like telepathically communicate with Syl.
Yeah, but this
we
is
know
hilarious.
that he has to say everything out loud for her to hear him.
Yeah.
And so it's just so funny to think about Kaladin being like, get in this fucking room with me.
Yeah, it's
And
incredible.
Roshone follows him up the stairs into this room, and then Kaladin
like-
either has this conversation openly, which is crazy, or like goes into a corner to like whisper to himself for a while, and everyone is like, he called us in here to just watch him talk to himself.
Yeah.
But
it's
anyway,
an intimidation tactic.
so Kaladin and so Syl sets up that all weapons have genders.
Yeah.
And then this gets this gets so complicated because Kaladin is like, oh, like there's 2 genders, and Syl's like, well, no, there were 4, but humans couldn't imagine the other 2.
No, she says, so older Spren that were created before humans created Spren had 4 genders, but all the Spren that the humans created only had 2 genders because humans had 2 genders. Whatever that means.
Right, but so there used to be 4 genders. And so old Spren who were around when there were 4 genders might still have this 3rd and 4th gender.
I mean, yeah, they're probably not like human. I don't know. They might be like a wholly different species entirely.
It's just, it is one of those things.
Maybe crabs have 4... Do crabs have 4 genders?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm checking.
You know who does have more than 2 genders, though? Is humans.
That's true. Yeah. You know what? It's fine. Brandon Sanderson did not study biology or chromosomes and was like,
I'm not even talking about that, though. I'm talking about, like, culturally. There are many cultures around the world that have had, you know...
Oh, either route you go, scientifically or culturally, there's still more than 2 genders.
Yeah. Like, you know, 2-spirit people in the indigenous populations in North America.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there are... Yeah. I think that this was a minefield that I was like, you didn't need to open this one up. We could have kept the genders out of the spears. In traditional Judaism, there are like 7 or 8 genders. You are correct. This was a weird moment of Brandon Sanderson like dipping into gender conversations in a way where I was like, we don't need this.
I just don't think he knew it would be such a touchy topic and like in 2024 especially, right? This book was not written in the past like 2 or 3 years. This was just kind of more of a, sure, yeah, we'll just say there are 2 genders and probably not thinking about any kind of implications that would have.
I just don't. Yeah, I think the writing like humans could imagine 2 genders is just a weird thing to write given like the world we live in. You know what I mean? Like given the truth about so many cultures in our world, that is just not true. It's just an interesting sort of
culturally or biologically.
Yeah,
you can have more than you can have more than 2 combinations of chromosomes that make up gender. And so it is just like kind of an odd choice to be like, maybe it's that on Roshar they don't know about chromosomes and so they literally only think that they have 2 genders, and so because they think they have 2 genders, the Spren only have 2 genders.
Sure. But if Spren are based on what humans imagine,
yeah,
then they should be way weirder. Do you know what I mean?
34 Spren.
Like human imagination is so vast and all encompassing that it seems weird to me that the Spren are kind of basic. And maybe Spren only exist in the things that we imagine collectively. Right? It's not every errant thought that human beings have.
Yes, if an individual comes up with a really fucked up thing, it's not going to create Spren. It is humanity as a whole has developed these concepts of what honor means, like that kind of thing, and so those are like the higher Spren. Yeah, because otherwise you would just have a Spren for fucking everything, and so there's no fucking way. Yeah, it has to be like kind of a collective hive mind that unintentionally created the Spren.
But that gets into the weird thing of like, I'm not even talking about the book right now. I'm literally just talking about like philosophy, but
it's fun.
Why do honor Spren have one view of honor when human beings across cultures don't view honor the same way?
Well, in Roshar, we don't know.
Well, but we've met a bunch of different cultures, right? Like, Shin's idea of honor is very different from the Alethi idea of honor. And so...
Is it?
Well, yeah, I mean, who is on top and what the hierarchy of their honor systems are different,
What
right?
honor system are you... I'm not... Actually, I have no idea what
Well,
you're
like, the
talking about.
Alethi, the Alethi view the most honorable job as being a soldier, right? And the Shin view the most honorable job as being a farmer. And there's a like ideological disparity between those two cultures because of that.
Well, then a Shin or whatever that Spren might have different ideas of honor than Syl would. Because Syl is still an individual in a weird way. Like, Syl is...
Is she?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't get that
Syl
vibe
has a personality in the same way Pattern has a personality. Like, I think that we are going to meet two Spren that are the same kind of Spren, but that will be slightly different.
That's fair. No, that's a good point.
We don't know yet. But it does open up the doors for all of these questions, and I think that they are good and interesting questions to talk about.
Yeah, I think that viewing Syl as an individual is an interesting topic to talk about. Because there is...
I think it will make
she
Syl more
feels
interesting.
more like a rebel within a hive mind than she does a true individual to me.
Well, and she kind of is, because she disobeyed the
You know what I mean?
Father.
And so, I don't think that she acts completely independently.
No, there's a weird hybrid
but she's
thing
also kind of she's trapped within a worldview that I don't.
Here's the thing. I think that the specificities of honor are individual, but every society has some concept of honor. They don't have to be the same, but like honor as a concept is widely accepted across nations, countries, individuals. So that's why it's a concept that created Spren.
Anyway, this is all to say that some of Kaladin's spears were women, and Kaladin is uncomfortable with that because they should have had their left side covered or some shit. I don't know.
It's just like the left side crossguard is covered by like a fucking...
So goofy. So Kaladin is walking around, and Laurel shows up, and he's like, I wanted to save you from this. And she's like, stop talking about my husband that way. And he's like, but your husband saving. Like basically tortured my family. And she's like, well, did you consider that your father said some not nice things about my husband? Did you consider that he was slightly critical of the man in power?
I fucking hate Laurel.
Laurel can go, and honestly, Syl being like, I like her. Syl's worst opinion.
Weird to me.
Syl's worst opinion by far. Laurel fucking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
If someone is like,
your dad... Benley, Laurel. No, I'm kidding. But
your dad starved my family.
Yeah.
Well, your father was slightly critical of my husband.
Yeah.
Or your husband, rather.
And she was there for it. Like, she watched Rashon starve Kaladin's family. I don't know. Azathras, thank you for that super chat. First time theory. Want to go to Shadesmar? I bet we'll see a lot of weird Spren there. I mean, yeah, there's millions of those little, like, beads or whatever, so there's got to be some weird shit.
The beads are objects, not Spren.
Sure, I'm fucking...
Look, I know. I know.
No, I think I would love some more Shadesmar development, honestly.
I think that's how they're going to get to the origin eventually. Because the origin's in the middle of the ocean. So they're going to have to boop into Shadesmar and walk across the land in Shadesmar to get to the origin on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I find Laurel to be an absolutely close-minded, like, racist, and I don't understand what Syl likes about her.
No, I don't. I
don't get it
either. But it's fine. I'm sure Laurel's not going to be a huge part of the story. So,
yeah.
Ernest, thank you for that super chat. I don't think she sucks. She was groomed by a man twice her age and brainwashed, so her interpretation is wrong. But she was there.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. If Rashon had been like, this is what I did elsewhere that like Laurel wasn't present for, I would feel very differently about Laurel's view of the situation. but Laura was present for this. She literally watched how Rashon and Rashon's son treated Kaladin and his family, and was mean about it back then as well. Like, she was a bitch about it.
Yeah.
And so my sympathy is limited. I think that she has lied to herself and kind of accepted the brainwash because it makes her life easier.
Yes.
But I think that in her choosing to make her own life easier, it makes her a worse person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that she's complicated in that way, but it still sucks.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that she sucks forever. I'm saying that she can grow out of this. I'm saying I don't understand what Syl sees in her.
Yeah.
Like, if Syl had said, like, I pity her, I would understand it more.
Or if Pattern had said, I like her, because she's clearly lying to herself.
Yes. It's that Syl says, I like her. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And you can say, like, she's been brainwashed. Maybe. But also, you can't excuse people's behavior by just saying they're a victim, right? Like, there's a point in victimhood where it is still your job to
no one
acknowledge it and,
Yeah. You have to be... you have to have awareness over your own mind.
Yeah.
And you choose whether or not to and to not. And I think she's chosen to not because it makes her day-to-day easier. Yeah. And I get that, but yeah.
Judah Canizares,
thank you so much.
Syl is a contrarian and a troll to Kaladin, so I always took it as ooh, she's sassy and doesn't take your shit, Kaladin. I like her, lol.
It might honestly be that Syl is just a troll. It might be as simple as that.
Yeah, that might be it.
It's just kind of like... The fact that Syl embodies honor, though, opens up the door for these conversations.
Because there's nothing honorable about Laurel.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, that's
no, but except for, and I brought this up in the reaction. I think we reacted to this.
Yeah, we did.
I brought up that she views she thinks that it is honorable for Laurel to defend her husband because her marriage oath.
Oh, yeah, you did bring that up. Yeah.
And this is where Syl's idea of honor it gets problematic to me, is that the honor of defending her husband's awful actions because her oath is to her marriage means that Syl is saying that it is better to be honorable than to treat poor people well. And that to me is that is a complicated thing that I don't like.
It feels weird, and and I don't think that it's gonna matter that much, but it is just a weird offhand thing that I'm like, oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, I guess.
So then Syl, so then we find out that the Laurel has some stormlight, and Cal's like, how did you get it? And he's like, Laurel's like, it's not hard to put your fears out when a storm starts, Kaladin.
Yeah, you can see the
idiot.
Storm coming.
And look, I give Laurel some shit here. The sass in this is absolutely appropriate.
Yeah.
Kaladin being like, I don't understand how you thought to put... She's like, because the winds come first, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. We literally see it coming.
And then Kaladin gets to meet Oridin.
Yeah. Liren and Hesina?
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a little baby. He's about a year old.
Well, I mean, their sons both left for war, and suddenly they had an empty house. What were they gonna do except fuck?
Oh, I don't blame them. I think
you go to Pound Town.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's something that I have observed that. What? That
all right, everyone. Clarissa is going to explain what she's observed.
That parents who have suffered a loss will try and fill that void.
Oh, I thought you were saying that parents fuck a lot when their kids leave. No. I was like, how have you observed that?
No, I think they deliberately tried to have a child.
Clarissa's just going to people's houses to watch them fuck. Yeah.
I am Pattern, actually. I'm taking notes.
Such delicious
No mating! I can't. Incredible.
Clarissa yelled that at me when I took my pants off last night. I'm
just gonna start randomly doing that.
Please don't.
No, it's so funny. I can't. Anyways, it's beautiful. Kaladin has this beautiful moment with his little brother. It truly is. And they called him Orden, Child of Peace. Like, it's, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Also, there is a moment with Liren where you talked about how Liren is like, I just wish that you didn't have to get caught up in this.
Yeah.
And it changes a person.
Yeah.
But nobody ever stays the same, and that's just a part of life, and that's tough for a parent to accept.
Well, and I was talking about Liren is such a fascinatingly selfish character, and we talked about this in the reaction as well.
Yeah, which I disagree with, but yeah.
Yeah, because you think that being selfish is only for your one self, and I think that you can be selfish for your family. It's just that difference of opinion on that. So you want me to just use a different word, but you agree with my sentiment that the majority of Lyran's actions are so about other people, and that he lives his life for other people, but he has these little ways in which he will be... The only word I can think of to use here is selfish for his family. I don't know what word you want me to use there, but whatever word you want me to use, that he has these little things.
He's protective.
But it's not about being protective, because protective would mean defending against something. But that's not what it is. Lirin knows that this war is going to have to be fought by someone. He just doesn't want it to be his son. He wants his son to stay pure while other people aren't. And that, to me, is selfish. A little bit. He's not an inherently selfish character. It is just that he's complicated in that there are these little ways in which he gets selfish, like how he stole the money from Rashon.
It's one of those weird... I've never thought this before in my life, but I think that we actually need a new word in the English language. There are plenty of other words in other languages that maybe could encompass this like in a better way, but I think that being selfish but is a different thing than being selfish for the people that you care about.
And see, like, I don't, because I see, like, if I did something that hurt somebody for my brother, I would call that a selfish action, because my brother's happiness is an extension of my happiness.
But it's not about your happiness, which is self.
No,
but like self, selfish, is self.
But my brother's happiness is my happiness. That's what I think you're missing.
Okay, but
your happiness is my happiness.
But some people do things for other people to make them feel better, which is then another thing in itself entirely. So I think we need more words here, guys.
But I don't think you do.
I think that there are people...
My family is me.
Okay.
My friends are me in a way. Their happiness is my happiness. That is why we view it differently. I don't view my brother's happiness as me doing something for him.
It's the difference of doing it to make them happy or to make you feel happy because they're happy because it's your happiness.
I don't think there is. I view it as the same. I view making myself happy and making you happy as the same thing.
But it depends on your motivation.
I don't think it does. I really think that selfishness... I don't think selfishness is limited to just for me. Doing things for you is selfish for me. In a way. Because your happiness is the most important thing in the world to me.
I just think there's a distinction there that there should be a way to express it in English.
Judicat is always thinking about Super Chat. Sandra really wrote Kaladin as an Asian kid with Asian doctor father who is disappointed in his life choices and decision against being a doctor. Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But didn't go full trope by making his mama like full on tiger mom. So
God. Yeah. I don't know. I just think that like we're missing a word in English and that we need to Urban Dictionary that shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Chloe Root agrees with me, so I win. Chapter 8, A Powerful Lie. Shalan's trying to draw.
Yeah. Shalon's having a bad time, okay? Because she's like, shit, I murdered my mom. Mm-hmm. And Pattern helped me. And Pattern is
I'm
like...
pee. You talk about Shalan.
Pattern is like, it's okay if you want to kill me.
They'll
send you a new friend. It's fine. And I was like...
Really? Will they?
I don't know. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. I don't know. This was like... This was... It's hard to read. Because Shalan is just trying to not think about... trying not to think about anything. She can't put those memories back in the box, right? She has now opened that box, and it can't go back to the dark corner that it was from. And I feel so bad for Pattern. Like, Pattern is my favorite character ever. I love him so much. Anyways, she's drawn, and they go to see Navani and Dalinar. They're having like a little meeting, and Dalinar is struggling because nobody will listen to him. He's like, I'm really bad at this. Shalan, what do you think? And Shalan is like, bro, I've never left my country before I came here. I don't know these people. And Dalinar is like, wait a minute. You're right. We don't know these people. Because Shalan's just that big brain. She gave good advice without actually meaning to. There's a plushie of Pattern. I need to know what that looks like. I need that. I love that so much. Yeah, back on the selfishness thing, I don't know. I think that other languages probably have better explanations for those kind of things, because I know that there's a lot of words that like we don't have for things in English, but anyways, we could argue about that for hours, and we don't have the time for that. So where was I? Oh, Shalan and Dalinar create a map kind of by accident. They like feel things. There's like a feeling, and then there's a map that suddenly appears.
Well, and Dalinar has a stormlight magnetism.
Yeah.
So Dalinar can like stormlight pull the radiance to him somehow, which must be the bond, whatever the fuck he is, and how that affects him. It's a really interesting, it's a really interesting way it's set up. She feels him, and then he can like multiply her power apparently, because she's able to, because she's like with him, her like powers are enhanced in some way, or she's able to do something she's never done before, which I think is really interesting. I like the idea that they're gonna be able to like team up and do, like Hartley says, like combo move. But she's pretending to be an Else Caller, which we've never heard of before, which is interesting. I want to know what an Else Caller is. They look at this giant map and are looking down. They're like, you know what? We got to secure the Oath Gates. I think I want to wait for Clark to get back to talk about this, because I want to talk about what the Stormfather says in this section, because it feels weird to me. Yasna's an Else Caller. Oh, interesting. Okay. I still don't know what that means, but it's nice to know that Yasna is one. Did they say that? Oh, she gets the information required to make a world map from Stormfather through Dalinar. Interesting.
So no, they don't actually say that, but it's one of those weird things where you kind of have to infer that, because we know that there's one power overlap between each of the like thingies, and Shalan and Yasna share one power, but not both. So they're like, yeah.
I want to know what happened to the Stormfather in the last 4 days.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, so end of book 2, Dalinar's like, what can we do? And Stormfather's like, fucking nothing. This is pointless. This is stupid. We shouldn't do this, right?
Okay.
4 days later, Dalinar's like, yeah, but will the Almighty's plan work? And the Stormfather's like, yeah, of course it will. He's the Almighty. What happened in the 4 days in between these two scenes, where the Stormfather has gone from being like, no, there's nothing that'll work, there's no point to doing anything, and, oh no, the Almighty's plan will work.
He had a panic attack and summoned a storm.
I just kind of wish this moment of Dalinar being like, the Almighty said to do this, will it work? And the Stormfather's... I wish that had been the end of book 2 instead of putting it here. It would have really changed the end of book 2. If you had put that little conversation between the Stormfather and Dalinar at the end of Words of Radiance and cut out some of the returns from death, I really think the end of that book would have been so strong to me.
I honestly think it's just that the Stormfather is like you, where you're like, well, the world is ending, but I'm not going to do nothing in the meantime.
No, but here he's like, no, of course it'll work. The Almighty said it. And I'm like, that's a 180. The last time we talked with you about this, you said the exact fucking opposite. What happened in the last 4 days that the Stormfather is like, has completely changed his mind about it?
I think he's such a nihilist because it'll work. Everything will only work momentarily, and it's like the wheel of time where they literally have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again until, cause like, they literally only buy themselves time. Like they never like win truly. I think.
Judah Kennedy, thank you for that super chat. Stormfather is rather shifty and petulant at times. Yeah, but this to me felt like a complete 180. It didn't feel shifty. It felt like he has completely changed. The Stormfather gets stuck in his feels. I guess that's what it is.
He had a panic attack and he summoned a storm because he was like, that's it, the world's fucking ending. Get this shit out of here. Kill them all. I can't, you know what? I can't do anything, but I'll put your corpses in the chasms. You're welcome.
I'll buy it. I don't love it, but I'll buy it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that you're right. It's just not it's not my favorite to have these two conversations be the two moments. And maybe it's that he watched Dalinar get married and that's what changed his mind. He's like, well, now that you're married.
He's one of those people at weddings who's like, oh my god.
He officiated one wedding and so he's like, we gotta save humanity, guys. Marriages are beautiful.
Yeah. He's like, more honor. More oaths.
I found the Stormfather at the end of book 2 to be kind of a okay moment for me.
Izathra says first time theory, maybe the bond goes both ways and that Dalinar's optimism is affecting the Stormfather.
Maybe. They were bonded at the end of the book 2. Well, yeah.
It was after the storm, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't... This felt weird. Reading it felt weird because I was like, oh, I guess we're just... Is the Stormfather a different character now?
Yeah.
Where is the... His nihilism is just completely gone. Yeah. And it's not even like it would feel more shifty if he was like, well, it might work. But that's not what he says. He says, of course it will work. He's the Almighty. You know what I mean? It's not...
He's not allowed legally to say anything else, actually.
Yeah, I think it's just
Daddy
the weird...
said it works, so it works.
It's the weird extremes. It's not like he's slowly being pulled one direction. It's that it's one side and then the complete other within 4 days and nothing has happened.
Yeah.
That's why it felt odd to me.
There was a marriage that happened.
Sure. And so maybe it's just, but I found the conversation off-putting because I was also a little bit off-put by the end of book 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are we doing? Like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, there was another murder.
Yeah.
What? Someone has been killed in the exact same way.
Near almost the exact location.
Yeah, that Adolin killed Sadeas.
Another High Prince.
Somebody knows something.
Which,
and it's not going to be good.
We talked about this in the reaction last night, but this is probably somebody trying to get blackmail material on Adolin or Shalan.
Or Dalinar.
Well, no, it can't be Dalinar, because Dalinar doesn't know that Adolin did it.
No, but but the blackmailer, or I guess then that would be blackmail on Adolin.
Well, actually, the blackmailer doesn't know that Dalinar doesn't know.
True.
So, yeah, they might... So I think that what's happening is someone is setting up a serial killer that can be established to not be Adolin, so that they can then turn around and blackmail Adolin by being like, hey, I helped you. Someone could find out.
Yeah.
Michael Kioski says you don't think Adolin just got a taste for serial killing?
No, he's literally like, there has to be 2 different murderers.
If it was that, Michael Kioski,
that'd be weird. No,
yeah,
I would hate that.
I don't like the storytelling of that. Because Adolin's been a POV character for so long, to suddenly drastically change him and also make him not a POV... No, but we're also getting his POV in this book. So to have a POV character that's is just a mislead on the audience feels very gross.
Adolin is actually Dark Urge.
But the Dark Urge is aware of what they're doing.
No, not the first time.
Yeah, that's true.
Trust me, I didn't know.
Stop spoiling Baldur's Gate.
It's fine. It's been out for over a year. I'm the one that's gonna get spoiled. Let's be honest.
Oh, it's been over a year and you haven't even gotten Act 3.
Shut up. So, anyways, Shalan falls behind. She has short little legs, and Adolin stops and goes with her, and it's very sweet. But yeah, he's dead, and Adolin seems a little bit nervous, and Shalan's like, that's super weird. And then also Renarin is like, wait a second, that's super weird. And he's like looking at Adolin, and I don't know, he sees some shit. Renarin sees shit. Renarin knows. I'm worried that Renarin knows.
So the guy's Perel. He is a barber who comes to London. We find out that he actually knew Sweeney Todd back when he was Benjamin Barker. He used to sweep up his shop. No, Perel is a member of Sabariel's army. And Adolin is put in charge of the investigation into the murder that he committed. And also this other murder.
Love that frame.
Yeah.
Chapter 10.
Also, Renarin apparently now is Batman and can just sneak up on people. Because Shalan is turns around and suddenly Renarin is just there and she freaks out. Renarin's ability to see the future has made him very quiet.
Or that's his other ability. Because he has to know.
He's a divination wizard who multi-class into rogue.
Yeah, 100%.
He did that 2-level dip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chapter 10 is distractions.
We have investigated ourselves and done nothing wrong.
Kaladin is going to a different village with Syl, who seems rather happy. And then Syl starts trying to tell him that he should fuck Shalan, even though Shalan's being courted by someone else. For some reason. I don't know. I think Syl is like in heat or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This book is so horny.
It's so horny.
Like, is same author? Yeah, same author. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, we're horny, folks. Syl is very horny.
This was what, like 2013? I feel like internet porn was really on the rise at this point. We're starting to see more videos. And if you guys don't know, Utah consumes the most porn. The Mormons, they are known for it. They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to watch it.
But here's the thing.
But they watch the most of it.
Isn't Brandon Sanderson not in Utah?
Doesn't he live in Salt Lake City?
I thought or maybe he's
2017.
Not from...
We're in full on video. Porn is
Tumblr.
Everywhere.
Guys. Tumblr's got some spicy shit going on. He is in Utah.
Yeah, he lives in like Salt Lake. That's why Dragonsteel's there.
I thought born in Nebraska. That's what it was.
But it is in Utah.
Oh, okay.
And Utah watches the most porn.
Yeah. Crazy. Anyways, Syl saying some really weird shit, and I don't like it.
I love Code 76 says they don't necessarily consume the most, they pay for and search for it the most.
Does it feel like a pretty good metric?
I think that if you search for it the most, you're probably watching the most, though, right?
You would think.
They do the most research.
They leave it on in the background. They pay for their porn like a good Christian.
And so, so...
Oh my god.
I think that Brandon Sanderson discovered internet porn, and, yeah.
Anyways, they get to a town...
Well, no, we have to talk about the fact that Syl, Kaladin ends this conversation by realizing that Syl probably will want to watch him have sex.
Oh, yeah.
And he's uncomfortable with that, and I'm like, why? You know what? Actually, no, she's so judgmental.
Yeah, she's also, like...
Syl will be like, you didn't last long enough.
She's also, like, 6 months old, right?
Wow, you made that super weird.
I didn't make it weird.
Wow. Way to fucking...
It's weird. I didn't make it weird. It is already weird, okay?
She's 6,000. You don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But, like, cognitively, she's...
And so he gets to a town where the Parchment have stolen some grain and they ran off, and he's gonna go follow him. Adolin goes and he is in his fields and is feeling anxiety, so he goes and he brushes a horse for a bit. That horse is Gallant, and he and Gallant have a moment of silence for Sureblood. And Adolin is like, I can't brush my horse, but I can brush you. There's also a line where he's like, maybe Gallant will let me brush him. That'll feel good. And I was like,
me, yeah.
You sad little boy.
No, I feel so bad. That was actually heartbreaking.
And so Renarin shows up and he's like, hey, brother. First of all, you should have your future wife, do a little portrait of Sureblood that you can stroke and when you're in your feelings.
It's a weird way to put it.
And also I need you to figure out who my Shardblade should go to because I don't want to hold it anymore.
Oh, yeah, he's like, this Shardblade hurts me. And Adolin's like, oh, well, all right. Give it to someone then. I don't care.
He's like, no, I want you to do it. He's like, no, you should do it. He's like, no, can you just fucking give my Shardblade to somebody? I don't want to deal with it. It is the dead soul of one of my Blade's friends, okay?
Yeah, I hear it screaming in my brain every time I touch it.
We do, we'll get to it soon, but Dalinar also has started to experience that.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, well, that's why Stormfather is like, you will be a Radiant without a blade. Because I will not become one.
But also not, because the Stormfather seems open to him using the Honor Blade.
Well, the Honor Blade makes things different, yeah.
I don't think he's going to, because I think someone's going to steal it because he left it in the poop chute.
It's not...
What do you mean it's not? He literally hides an Honor Blade in the fucking poop chute of Urithiru.
Not all pipes are used for, like, sewage. It could be a pipe that brings, like, clean water to a sink.
No, because that would have water in it. The only pipe that's going to be empty right now...
None of them work right now. Navani's trying to figure out how that system works.
But, oh my god, can you imagine Navani turns that system on, not knowing that her husband hid it in a water chute, and then he goes back and the honor blade is gone because it's been taken somewhere.
It's like whizzing around.
Some poor woman is taking a shower, and an honor blade just comes out of the wall through her chest. They find her like speared to the back of her shower wall.
No, they have to go on a fucking chase, like a fucking Looney Tunes chase, to fucking catch this thing like booping around.
I don't think you're right. I'm pretty sure he has basically put it in a septic tank, or like he hid the honor blade in a fucking porta potty, basically.
I just mean like the toilet has clean water that goes into it, so it could be that pipe instead of the one that goes out. Why would that pipe be that
thick though?
Because it's water. What do they make the pipe that goes in a different thickness than the pipe that goes out? Yeah,
water pipes are thinner. Because poop pipes need to have poop in them.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is the sword sentient?
Could be an air duct, but that's less funny than it being a porta potty.
I guess.
Guys, be funnier. Why are you guys trying to not be funny? It's funny that Dalinar is putting an honor blade in a poop chute.
Anyways, chapter 11 is...
Oh, no, this is where Adolin and Renarin clasp hands, and Adolin's wrist is healed. So we find out that Renarin can heal other people.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got some.
He sees himself. Yeah, he sees himself perfect, and he's healed in that moment.
Yeah, so I wonder if he like shares a trait with Shalan.
Shalan can't heal other people.
No, I mean the like image of him.
No. That's his. He has healing powers and he has future vision powers.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So at some point, Adolin is going to like lose an arm or something. And then he's going to get it back somehow. Because this vision is about him being perfected and whole.
Oh, alright.
I think he's probably going to like lose an arm and then Renarin...
He recalls the save state.
Heals him.
Yeah, he just reloads the save.
I love that.
Incredible.
33 years ago. The Rift. Dalinar is fighting a battle in a town and he kills a bunch of people. He has shard plate finally, and so he's getting used to it. He's kind of breaking a lot of things because he realizes he's murdering like a monster. This is post Navani and Gavilar getting married.
Yeah, they already have had Yasna.
I thought we were going to get to see some of their interactions in the flashbacks, but I don't think we are. We kind of skip over it. And they're going after Tanalan, who's not Talanalan. And they're going after the shard blade, and Dalinar really wants it. So he's like, I'm going to use this plate. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to fuck shit up.
Yeah, but he's got a plan to deal with the 3 shard bearers, and they basically, like, there's catapults that they try and take out. Yeah. Which are rigged, like, the platform underneath of them is rigged to collapse to try and kill the shard bearers. Yeah. Smart.
Doesn't really work, but it could have.
No, like it was like a good idea.
Yeah, his shard plate is damaged. There's a lot of dialogue in here about him being like, God damn it, I'm not great. It's just so easy. These shards make it so easy to just kill people. You could put a fucking random farmer in this and they'd kill just as many. I don't feel special anymore. Am I even good at this?
I'm not a special boy.
And then he goes full Moash. He's like, I'm never going to take this off until I'm perfect at using it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then he goes and he kills Tanalan. But he...
And his son.
The body goes away. Or the body's gone. And the sword is gone. He's like, fuck. I killed the guy. And then he chases him down into... He finds a trap door.
Because his shard blade doesn't appear. Yeah. And his servants take him off. Yeah. So he, like, chases him down.
Finds his son. His, like, 14-year-old son crying, holding 14. The shard blade.
Oh, I thought he was, like, 7.
Oh, is he that young?
Yeah, because the way he speaks, he sounds like child.
Oh, I thought he was I think that in my brain I was like, let's make him puberty level so that.
No, I think he's like 6 or 7 years old.
Do you think that he killed that boy?
Yeah, they say that he does.
Oh, I thought it just kind of cut.
No, later on it says he killed the High Lord and his heir.
Yeah, but did he actually kill his heir, or is this like a Jon Snow situation where that kid is somewhere?
No, I think that he did because this is when Dalinar gets fucking depresso espresso.
See, I found the way the book cut away
to imply that maybe he let him go.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a Jon Snow vibe out of this. That isn't a spoiler for Game of Thrones because this is not how Jon Snow exists. But I got a little bit of a, like, Dalinar... Yeah. I think this kid is alive.
I would... God, that would be nice.
I think the public story they told is that they killed the kid for, like...
Yeah. For succession reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think that kid is dead by now. I think we're going to see that kid die. But I think that kid will be a little bit older, and I think it might be related to Dalinar's wife or something.
It's going to be a full, like, Ulysses, where, like, he doesn't kill the kid, and then the kid comes back to kill him.
And I think that it's because I've been listening to Epic the Musical so much at the gym, that I'm like, oh, no, this is like a Theseus and...
Is it Ulysses?
Ulysses?
Isn't that his name?
Is it Ulysses?
Yeah, pretty. It's like Ulysses. Isn't that it?
Of Ithaca?
Yeah, I think it's Ulysses.
I can't remember. Why am I blanking? I've been listening to it so much.
Well,
I know
they
the
don't
story.
say his name, really.
Is it Ulysses? Yeah, it must be.
The musical doesn't really say his...
Yeah, it does.
Does it?
Odysseus. Not Ulysses. Odysseus. I was like...
Odysseus, Ulysses. Same thing. That's basically...
I was like, Ulysses S. Grant, the President of the United States?
No, Ulysses is a character, though.
Odysseus. Thank you. God, my brain was
I thought
fried.
Ulysses... Oh, is Ulysses the one
Odysseus is Ulysses? That's not... Okay.
Wait, I thought that Ulysses was the one who sailed the ship away and came back to win his wife back with the bow.
Ulysses is the Iliad. Odysseus is the Odyssey. So they're both the same person, depending on if you're Roman and Greek. Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, okay. That's why our brains were breaking.
I know they're two different stories.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point of it is...
Fucking Christ.
Ulysses is Latin for Odysseus.
What? Nah, I'm sorry. I call bullshit.
I never call bullshit with Latin. Latin makes no sense. Okay.
Fucking Greeks, man. Anyways, I hate that.
No, it's Odysseus. Yeah.
No, the story is called the Iliad.
I fucking hate this whole thing.
Yeah.
My brain is broken because they're all in there. All right. So maybe he killed the boy, maybe he didn't. Dalinar, though, and Gavilar's like, you know what? Now that you have a sharp plate and blade, we need to start acting different. We've been doing too much.
Yeah.
And Dalinar's like, yeah, I agree.
We need to grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chapter 12. Yeah, Dalinar... Oh, no, wait. That chapter ends with Dalinar saying, like, he leans back and hears the brave boy crying. But it doesn't say dying or screaming or...
Yeah.
Just he remembers him crying. I don't think that kid's dead.
Maybe.
Chapter 12. Negotiations. Can we just summarize this to Dalinar is reaching out to all these places and no one really wants to work with him?
Yeah, there's some weird politicking, but there's also some weird, like, their response is kind of suspicious.
Yeah.
Are we actually talking to them? Oh, they want to make a pact with the Voidbringers? That seems weird.
I'm not going to lie. This chapter was real hard to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Listening to it, I was like,
Yeah.
This is all going to be really important later, but right now, keeping track of who is saying what from what country I'm hearing about for the first time
here's the thing. Taravangian?
Yeah, and
super down.
The end of the chapter I want to talk about, because Taravangian's in.
Yeah.
This is also where I don't know why I thought Dalinar and Taravangian knew each other. But the Dalinar's
because we thought that the old man in the prologue that Ash and I talked about was Taravangian.
No, but I thought Dalinar and Taravangian knew each other back in book 1. For some reason... And it makes sense for them to know each other because they're basically like high princes of neighboring countries. It's sort of like in it really bugged me in Wheel of Time that nobody knew that the kings didn't know each other.
Yeah, Elaine
and
didn't
no,
know.
they didn't. No one knew more gays. And I was like, you're the neighboring king. How have you never sat down at a dinner table with this queen?
Yeah.
You're literally neighbors in politics. It would be like the Prime Minister of Canada being like, yeah, I've never met the President of the United States. You know what I mean? It would just be weird. Anyway, but no, Dalinar also has a conversation with Elhokar.
Yeah.
Where Elhokar kneels and is like, you shall be the High King of Urithiru. X5 says Dalinar and Taravangian know each other. They have met. No, they haven't. They've never met. but they're aware of each other, but they haven't met.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I've heard of him, and he's heard of Tervangian.
He's like, oh, he's the dumb one,
Gavilar,
right?
Gavilar has met Tervangian.
Must have, yeah, must have. Yeah. No, Elhokar is like, I'm gonna give you, we have a new princedom.
Yeah.
You know, we've got high princes, why don't we have high kings? You're
Yeah.
now king of Urithiru, and I'll be king of Elhokar. And then suddenly, it takes this, like, huge weight off of Elhokar, and he suddenly is like, I know what to do now.
Yeah.
And you know what? I felt for him. I feel like sometimes if you just share a little bit of responsibility willingly, it makes a big difference to your mental state.
100%.
Yeah.
I also think that I think that part of the weight on Elhokar was that Dalinar was in charge, but no one had words for it. And so they were all living in this like weird lie, right?
Yeah.
That Pattern probably loved. And I think that like just getting rid of the lie really helps.
100%.
By making it clear. Like there's suddenly clarity in Elhokar's life.
Yes. Yeah. Chapter 13 we reacted to, called Chaperone.
Yeah. No, before we get there, Elhokar is going to go back to Kharbranth, or Kholinar, and he's going to save the city. And he wants Kaladin with him. But he wants...
I need my buddy.
He wants Kaladin to fly all of his people there.
Yeah.
Not sure that's how it works.
We'll see about that. I don't know how that's going to work.
This chapter was great. It was great. It was dense, and talking through the individual feelings of all these it's a lot.
It's one that I might like go back and like reread, because there was just a lot of really subtle things that I'm sure will make sense on rereads, because we will know who these people are and what their influences are.
100%.
But for right now, it's like, I don't know this person. I don't know. Like,
it was a lot.
Yeah.
So Shalan and Adolin have a little date night that starts with him walking in on her and her safe hand is exposed.
Yeah.
And
for shame.
Because she thinks it's pulling it. It's not. And then they just have a cute date night that starts with them doing a bunch of reading, and then they do some political discussions, and then they tell Pattern not to let them mate.
No, they're like, you have to chaperone us, and Pattern's like, sure, I don't know what that means, but yeah, I'll be here. Oh, Idolin meets Pattern for the first time.
Yeah,
which is very cool,
because
he's
moment.
like, wow, that thing looks fucking weird.
Yeah.
And so Pattern's just hanging around in the corner, and then
he's on a bowl.
Suddenly, out of the blue, he's like, oh, mating! I'm supposed to stop you from mating.
Yeah. And so Adolin is like, you have a shard blade now. And Shalan's like, and he's like, I am going to teach you how to use it. And she's like, I think that is okay, you're on board, cool. And then he dips out of the room.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's not in this chapter, is it?
It's next, but it's fine.
They
it
eat
goes
spicy food.
literally into that.
And Shalan, they kiss, and Pattern yells at them to stop.
No mating.
Shalan also is like, well, he's like, he says something, and her response is like, well, you've dated every woman in the fucking world. And he's like, sorry. Like, and then she's like, no, but it actually means you're the best at dating, because you fucked up all of the bad relationships, but we're together now.
Yeah.
I love that bit.
Yeah.
She has some, like, teasing meanness at the beginning of this that I don't love, for personal reasons. If you want to know about that, go watch the audio. But we're not going to get in that whole conversation again here.
Linus, thank you for that super chat. Best joke in the series. Do something inappropriate like divide by 0.
Very funny. Very funny. Except that dividing by 0 isn't hard. And I think...
No, it's just inappropriate. It's not hard.
No, people actually think that you can't divide by 0. And it's just, like, it's not that complicated.
0.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I think that, like, math... A lot of people don't understand math that well.
I don't understand math. But it's just 0.
You can absolutely divide by 0.
Isn't it? No, anything divided by 0 is just 0.
No, it becomes -1, doesn't it?
No, I was always taught that in school. Anything divided by 0 is just 0.
That's not true.
What do you mean it's not true?
Anything multiplied by 0 is 0.
Maybe. I don't know. Well...
guys, I'm sorry that you guys have a skill issue and you can't divide by 0, but I can, okay?
Don't fall for it, okay? He's just trying to fucking goad you.
I understand that you guys can't divide by 0, but I can. I'm just better.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a skill issue.
A skill issue for sure. Oh my God. This is why we can't. This is why book club is never just 3 hours. Motherfucker. You all fell for it. I fell for it. God damn it.
I love that chat was kind of like slowing down. And then
Chat's,
all I had to do was
math.
say that you can divide by 0 and people lost their
Math.
fucking minds.
And everybody loses their minds. Jesus Christ.
Guys, I know you can't divide by 0.
I hate it here.
You can multiply by 0.
Didn't know you couldn't divide by 0, so fuck me, I guess.
Well, yeah, because how would you divide by 0?
I just thought it was 0.
No, multiplying by 0 is 0.
Great. Same thing.
Yeah.
It's fine. No mathing.
That's not the most insane statement on math you've made? Yeah, because I've been wrong before. This time I was just making a joke. Kaladin, chapter 14, Squires can't capture. Kaladin finds some parshmen, and he's creeping up. And he's
cards.
They're not keeping a guard. They're not doing a good job.
No, there is, but he sucks at his job.
Sure. And then a friend sees him. And Kaladin's watching. They're playing a card game that they think that they should know the rules to because they watched people play it when they were in slave form. And Kaladin, is already immediately starts to realize something is very wrong with the world because of how they are.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wouldn't anything divided by 0 just be the thing that it was before? If it's 7 divided by 0, it's just 7?
No, because here's the mathematic problem. Anything divided by 1 is the thing that it was before.
Why?
Because if you divide something by 1, then it is still the same number. If you have 1 of something, then it's still the same number.
Then it would just be the same. 0 and 1 would then be the same in that instance.
No.
Yeah.
Because, no. Because here's the problem. You can divide things by the numbers between 0 and 1.
What do you mean?
You can divide a number by 0.01. And that is a different value than if you divide by 1.
It'd be the same.
No, it would not. If you divide by 0.01, it is a smaller number than if you divide, or a large.
But why can't both things be true? If you can divide by 0.5 and it is like 3.5 or whatever it is, but you divide by 1 and you divide by 0, why can't dividing by 1 and by 0 both have the same answer?
Because the numbers in between them have different numbers.
So, that doesn't matter.
It does.
Why?
Math.
That's not an answer.
It is the answer. It is, unfortunately, the answer. Nothing goes into 0.
What do you mean it's infinity? What is happening? No. 7 divided by 0 would just be 7.
No, it's...
Because you're dividing it 0 times.
I promise you it's not 7. I promise you it's not 7. I know it hurts. You can't divide by 0.
I just did it. So.
You did it.
It is. You know what? You're right. It is a skill issue.
You can't just say, I multiplied 12 by 8. It was 14. I just did it. That's not how fucking math works. You can't just say 7 plus 5 is 3.
I'm just saying
I
logically, it makes sense.
I promise you that is not logic.
We're talking about division, not multiplication.
I know, but they're. Oh my god, we have to move on, babe. We can't talk about this forever. You're not right. How many nothings are in 6?
You can say dividing, but you're not actually dividing.
Yes,
it's the same thing as
you are
dividing by 1.
No, you're not. If one person has 6 oranges, they still have 6. If 2 people have 6 oranges, they each have 3. Right?
Uh-huh.
If 0 people have 6 oranges,
then there are still 6 oranges that exist.
No, because there's nobody having anything. So
what
they
does
don't
the
exist.
having have to do with dividing?
So then an infinite number of pieces of that orange exist now among 0 people. It's too close to infinity, so you can't do it.
No one's counted the oranges in the world.
That's not... No. That's not what I'm saying. Shit. How do I explain this? So the number between
If you have a cake and you want 0 parts of the cake is still whole.
I know, but then you haven't divided.
7.
You haven't done anything.
Yeah, so you say dividing, but it's not actually division.
It's not
the same
possible.
thing as 1.
You were trying to come up with a mathematical impossibility that just doesn't exist.
It's the same as 1.
It is not the same as 1. Nothing has happened, which means that everything has happened, which means mathematical
Why
impossibility.
does nothing happening means everything is happening?
Because in infinity.
That's not... Well, infinity has nothing to do with division.
I know. I can't. I was joking. I was trying to make a joke about how it's possible to divide by 0, and now you want to try and figure out a question that like professional mathematicians are constantly trying to answer and they can't because it's not possible. I just think that
it's the same as dividing by 1.
It can't be because dividing by 1 and dividing by 0 have different values. It can't be because you just
said, oh, it can't be, but it makes sense that it is.
No, it doesn't, because 0.5 is you can divide by 0.5, and it is a value that is different than 1 and 0.
Yeah, it's a different number. Why is it related? 0.5 is not 0 or 1. It makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me. All right, you know what, Claris, you can do your own math. Let's move on to So Kaladin decides to surrender to the Parshendi that he has found himself with after the Odium Spren, who talks.
The Void Spren, yeah.
Who Kaladin can hear talk.
Well, and he sees it and hears it, and then Scylla's like, no, you can't actually see it.
No, it hides itself from him later. But in this moment, he can see it. Yeah.
Alright, so thank you for that super chat.
I'm mod interrupting you because you have no math expertise.
I don't know. I think it's honestly a skill issue. I did it.
That's what I said earlier as a joke because I knew it was impossible, and now you're saying it seriously.
I am 100% serious.
What are we doing?
Anyways, chapter...
What the fuck is wrong with the show?
Chapter 15 is, God, the comments are gonna hate me.
Oh my God.
On this video.
I'm gonna tweet that out right now.
What?
Claris thinks you can divide by 0.
Yeah. And if you can't, it's a you problem.
Talk about chapter 15.
Alright, so Shalan and Adolin are still on their date, and then they start sparring, kind of. Adolin is like, we need to teach you how to work with the shard blade, and he leaves the room to get the guards. Not guards. You know what I mean. And then Shalan has a panic attack, which was described exactly how I've had my panic attacks, and I was like, God, I think there's a reason that I relate to this character so much.
Yeah.
And she just decides to like put on a disguise of a different person who can do things that she doesn't want to do, and like literally just disassociates.
Basically, Shalan's not okay.
No, Shalan is really not okay.
Yeah. Shalan is like, oh no, Brightness Radiant does stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Brightness Radiant didn't kill my mom, so she can hold the sword that killed my mom.
Yeah, it's fine. And Pattern's like, it's okay if you want to kill me. And I was like, Jesus
fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about Shalan's mental health right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie. I am I'm slightly concerned about her mental health.
More than slightly. Honestly, she is unwell.
Like, you know, like Shalan is also like, Shalan not being like, I can see Pattern and the blade as different things, and Pattern's like, we're not. That's me, girl.
That's me.
Shalan is straight up not having a good time right now, you guys.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
She's struggling.
But she has a great boyfriend.
Yeah, who
is a murderer.
Yes.
Recently.
But he's very supportive of her. Okay.
This series is a fucking mess.
No, it's great. No, it's fine. So right, Adolin is very supportive, and I love how excited Adolin is to like share this thing that he cares about so much with his wife.
I love that. No, wait. She's disassociating to spend time with her boyfriend, who's investigating the murder that he himself committed. Like, their relationship is a disaster right now, and they just don't know it yet.
No, we'll get there. We'll unpack that at some point. Judah, thank you for the super chat. Why concerned? She just killed her mom, which spiraled her dad into being abusive, made her kill him, and she repressed it. She's fine. It's fine, yeah. She basically, like, packed that away so hard in her brain that she has not dealt with it through all these years. So it's basically like she killed her mom yesterday.
Yeah.
Who tried to kill her. Here's the thing.
Her mom was actively trying to kill her.
Her mom tried to kill her, so she killed her mom, which made her dad then try and kill everybody else. So she killed him, too. Yeah.
I'm not convinced that Shalan doesn't become Odium's champion by the end of this.
That would be a twist. Anyways, she's the equivalent of this is fine. But Adolin's very excited and probably maybe not the best teacher, but is enthusiastic and helps her in the best way that he can. And she finds that drawing the stances helps her emulate them, which is very fun.
She also finds that she likes it when he takes his jacket off and has that tight shirt on underneath.
She's like, even Brightness Radiant is not dead. Look at his arms.
Even Brightnesses get horny.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Shalan. My favorite part about this is she's not arguing with anyone.
No,
she's literally she's just arguing with herself.
Yeah. Do you think that this, like, is, like, the beginning of, like, a true split personality disorder that Shalan has to then deal with?
I really fucking hope not.
That would be complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, right now it's funny because it's obviously, like, not, like, a full-on split personality situation.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the road we go down, like, unpacking that is just gonna get harder and harder.
No.
Halen and Shalan are train wrecks in harmony is very funny.
Chapter 16, wrapped 3 times, is a Dalinar in the poop chute with the blade, right? He's got the honor blade there, but it doesn't scream, so that's a good sign.
I love that people are still trying to explain dividing by 0 in the chat.
I can't read it because we'll get derailed.
So Dalinar hides the honor blade in the poop chute.
And he's like, hey, Stormfather, can you watch this? And he's like, I'm not a god, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I only see what the storm sees, which, yeah, that totally makes sense.
We meet some random guard named Ryle, because Dalinar heads back towards his rooms.
Uh-huh.
And Ryle's like, oh, yeah, fucking Dalinar Colin walking around Urithiru with no fucking guards. This guy right here. And Dalinar's like,
who the fuck are you?
Why are you talking to me like this?
Yeah.
And Ryle's like, I've never talked to anyone like this before. And he's like, really? He's like,
I was reborn. Some weird religious shit. Reborn again Christian, motherfucker.
I love Ryle so much. He's such a, like, sassy asshole.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
But he's right. Dalinar, like, like, 2 people have been murdered in, like, the last day. And he's like, it's my job to protect you, but I guess he's every, like, Italian guy in New York City who's like, oh, yeah, you're just gonna go off on your fucking self, it's not my job to protect you anything. It's not like I'm supposed to keep you alive, you fuck.
Yeah, because every Italian is a guard.
Yeah, they all are. Yeah.
In New York City.
New York.
Anyways,
hell of a town.
Dalinar goes into the sparring room for some gay shit. It's very gay, very wrestle. I said this book is horny. It is. Like, the most horny.
None of the Ardents who are sword guys want to fight him. Because
all the Ardents hate Dalinar right now.
They're really mad that he is... I thought it was all about Navani, but it's also about the fact that he's like, hey, our god is dead. And I understand.
God is dead. Which is what I actually stood up at a church party and said, and then we moved to a different province. Yeah. Apparently I liked to repeat the things that I heard when I was 3.
All 3-year-olds do.
Yeah. It's a good time. Pretty sure someone had a heart attack.
And so Dalinar ends up wrestling with a young man. And Navani walks in while he's wrestling. And Dalinar's like, let me wrestle. We'll wrestle and do the talk here. And Navani has some great little quips about, like, yes, every wife's favorite thing is to find her husband wrestling men half naked in rooms.
Yeah.
That was a bad bad paraphrase. We also have another conversation with Zyle, who is definitely Vasher. I'm leaning into this. All
right, you know what? Yeah, let's go hard.
Definitely,
definitely
guys.
Vasher.
Vasher.
100%.
I said it one time as a joke, and now I'm fully committed to Zyle being Vasher.
And Nicholas Reed, it's because I was repeating a Hitler documentary that I had heard. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was... Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Now I'm really like... Yeah, that derailed my brain. What book are we reading?
Sorry, I was just... Yeah.
People who listen to this podcast, when you just... Because you don't read chat and then respond, you just respond to chat.
Yeah.
Like, I try... Because this is a podcast, an audio medium, that people might listen to while they're driving, I do try and read the chat that I'm responding to.
I don't know why you would do that. It's more fun to make them have to go back and watch the YouTube video as well.
No, that's not... Yeah, that's why I don't do that. And then you'll just say, yeah, no, person, it's because I watched a Hitler documentary. No context.
Yeah.
Sorry, podcast listeners.
No, you're just going to have to do the research, you know? Anyways, yeah, so we have got this duality going on where Navani is talking to the Queen of Iriali, and then Kadash and Dalinar are fighting and arguing about religion.
Yeah.
So it's basically Kadash is like, it's not really so much, I can get them to forget the Navani thing, but you gotta stop saying that God is dead.
Yes.
And Dalinar is like, but lying doesn't actually help anybody, so I'm not gonna do that.
Well, no, that's not what he says.
Yeah.
He says, prove to me that he is alive.
Yeah.
And Kadash's like, what do you mean? And he's like, I just believing it isn't enough, Kadash. I need you to prove it to me.
Yeah.
I am open to it, but you have to put some work in here.
Yeah.
And he's basically saying that, like, it's not, the world is coming to an end. It's not enough to just believe. We need actionable steps, which is what I've been saying about these books since book 1. I want actionable shit our characters can do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, fucking the Queen of Iriali is talking about making a treaty with the Voidbringers because Adolin got his shard plate by marrying someone from the Riali country.
No, because Dalinar married his wife to get the shard plate.
That Adolin has.
Yes.
But not Dalinar's shard plate.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Suddenly, for some weird reason, the curse is lifted and Dalinar knows who his wife was.
Evie.
Oh, I was like, I thought it was Eevee, like the Pokemon.
Sure.
But it can't be spelled E-E-V-E-E because then it would be symmetrical and that would be blasphemous.
Katek. No, it's Evie in the audiobook.
No, it's Eevee. And she evolves into either Umbreon or Sylveon or Vaporeon or Jolteon or Flareon or Leafeon. Oh, I got them all, I think.
No.
I thought there were 6.
There's 7.
Oh, is there? Who did I miss? Oh, the purple one. Which one's that? What?
Espeon.
Thank you. Yeah.
You said Umbreon, right?
I said Umbreon. That was the first one I said. Yeah. God damn it. Yeah. So, curse is lifted.
Why do you think the curse is lifted?
Cultivation is also dead. Odium killed her. Maybe? I don't know. I
hope not. No, why?
There is Glaceon. No, you're so right. So there's 8 evolutions?
Is Dalinar's boon not a boon anymore?
Is it not a...
Cultivation's thing is that she takes something from you, but you get something.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have that thing anymore, then she can't keep the curse on him. So what was he getting?
So I was always confused about what the boon was and what the curse was, because he could have gone to cultivation and be like, take away my memories, I don't want to hurt.
No, I don't think that's what it is. I just can't think that that's what it is.
I don't know.
What is the boon that is no longer active which means that he can hear his wife's name anymore. What did he get from cultivation?
Or cultivation's dead.
What if his boon had to do with Gavilar's throne? And
as soon as he married Navani.
No. As soon as he accepted that he was a higher power.
Like a king?
When Elhokar swore fealty to Dalinar, the boon that was protecting Gavilar's throne was no longer in place. And so his memory of his wife comes back.
What would the boon be then?
The protecting the succession of Gavilar's throne.
And then now that he usurped it himself,
yeah, his boon is gone. Hartley says, "Do you think the bonding the Stormfather could have disrupted the curse?" But no, because he bonds the Stormfather and then has the conversation with Navani.
Yeah, exactly.
So it can't be the Stormfather bond.
No, it can't be that.
But if it has something to do with protecting the succession of Elhokar and the throne, his brother's throne, then by Elhokar placing him above him, that throne.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Possible.
I don't know. Anyways, okay. Chapter 17, Trapped in Shadows.
No. We should quickly talk about why that is called Tied 3 Times. Basically, Dalinar tells a story, wrapped 3 times. Dalinar tells a story about how he met this guy, his first sword teacher, and the sword teacher was like, "You have to wrap your takama 3 times. It's the only right way to do it." And he would go to all these things and fight people who did it twice. And he was like, "It's too tight, I can't really breathe." So then he went to that guy's teacher. That guy was like, no, my teacher taught me, you have to wrap it 3 times. It's the right way. It's the only way to do it. So then he went to that guy's teacher, and that guy's teacher was like, "Oh yeah, I had to wrap it 3 times because I'm short. Mm-hmm. And if I didn't, then I would trip.
Yeah.
And so he's like, tradition isn't always the right thing to do just because it's tradition.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is really just like Brandon Sanderson. I don't think there's a part of him that doesn't want to be religious. There is an atheist somewhere in Brandy Sandy.
Maybe. Or maybe he's just explored those ideas so thoroughly that he can talk about both sides of it. Because I've heard people of faith talking about how it is the act of choosing to believe that makes it meaningful.
Sure.
I don't get it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good story. It's a good metaphor.
Yeah. And then that goes into the whole Jesus conversation, or the whole religious conversation.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Chapter 17 is the Parchment are like, do we kill Kaladin?
Meanwhile, Kaladin's like, I can form a Shardblade at any time. Like, Kaladin is safe. He's
trying
to suss these people out.
Yeah, he's trying to understand.
And he has a conversation about slavery with one of the Parshmen that is pretty harsh.
Pretty harrowing. Because Kaladin's like, yeah, look, I have slave brands. And the Parchman's like, you fucking asshole. You have no idea what it is like to have your mind enslaved and never have a choice, never have anything. Like, your comparison here is bullshit, and I raise you a fucking, magical slavery, okay? I think you're slavery, and I raise you a magical slavery. He brings
up some very interesting specifics, right? One is that he was aware the whole time, and he wanted to not be doing what he was doing, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
And so he was watching, it's like the Upside Down or not the Upside Down, the Sunken Place from Get Out, right?
No, I haven't seen it.
Like watching yourself on television. You haven't seen Get Out?
No.
Wow, that's the whitest thing you've ever said. That's not actually, but but also his wife was sold because she had a kid, and so she was sold because by having a kid she was deemed good breeding stock.
Yeah.
And that is. Fuck, I hate the Alethi so much. I want them all to die.
Yeah.
I don't actually, because they don't know. It's the tough thing about making all of this magical is that it's
they don't know. They're just these beings that wander around, and they're like, well,
they haven't had
they're helpful.
They've been like this for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it's like
the average person just doesn't know any better. They're like, oh yeah, the Parshmen help out. in the same way that like chulls are hooked up to like carriages or whatever the fuck it is, and it's like, ooh.
It's not just CLFE. Well, yeah, it's complicated though, especially if
right.
It's all complicated.
Yeah.
Because we just don't know, and I think that this is kind of the. This is one of those things where like hiding it behind a mystery makes it tough. Because I don't know if I'm going to be wildly uncomfortable with this book series when it's revealed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's an element of the mystery of this where the reveal could make me wildly uncomfortable.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's a legitimate concern because of the Wheel of Time of it all.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, this, I felt like the slavery stuff in Mistborn was a one-off, and was like the point of that first book was to resolve that.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas like this, we're holding on to this mystery, and I'm like, there's a point where like the reveal could just really take me out of it, and I hope it doesn't. Like, and I'm not saying that I think that it's going to, but there's a chance.
Yeah.
And that just makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a rough conversation.
Yeah.
Also, the Parshmen don't have they have Alethi accents because it's all that they know.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting.
Well, yeah, like how would they develop a different accent?
Yeah.
The Shin Parshmen living in Shin would have Shin accents. Like,
but Kaladin is like trying to. I think he comes to the realization that maybe he doesn't quite understand, but he can try and help, right? Like, here's how to help preserve that food that's going to go bad, right? Here's how you open up a rock bud and what's inside, and, like, just, like, here are survival things. And here's the thing is, like, yeah, they're hanging out with a Voidspren, but Kaladin is still, like, I don't have the full picture here.
I do love that Scylla's like flitting about pretending not to be his friend because she's like, I'm being watched. Shut the fuck up.
They're watching me. yeah.
I'm just a Windspren.
Nothing to see here.
I'm just a Windspren. No, but I like the I liked this a lot. This was, you know, not to spoil my my high, but I think that like we finally got the framing of Parshmen that I've been waiting for these books to get into, and Parshendi, and our listeners, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure like they want to be called Parshendi. I don't know if that is a term that they like.
Yeah.
And it's it's really I'm glad the book is finally getting into this element of it, because we got it in the interludes in the last book, and then when we got to the actual war, we didn't get any perspective on them. And so I'm hopeful that this story doesn't become a war between the Parshendi and the Alethi.
Yeah.
Where the Alethi just overpower the Parshendi because they want their slaves back. Because the characters that we're following, I want to still love, and it will be very hard for me to do that.
Yep.
Baby Balrog says, you asked at the end of Edge Dancer where they went and wondered why they didn't attack. Yeah, I mean, I still don't know.
Yeah, we don't really understand how the listeners woke up, and if they woke up with different spren. Like, this like group of them might not have had any of the anger spren. It might have been a different spren. But then we know that there were some little red lightning anger spren in Edge Dancer. So I still, that is a big old question mark as to why things happened the way they did and how. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed this chapter. I love the perspective Kaladin brings to it. I love the moment of him being like, hey, I'm a slave too. And then being like, it is not the same. And Kaladin listening to that honestly and not getting defensive.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Shalan in the Chasm in the last book. When Kaladin kind of called her out on her shit. And she
was like, oh,
when he was like, hey, you're an entitled princess. And she's like, oh, you know what? Sometimes I am. And I love that moment for Shalan. It was one of my favorite things about Words of Radiance. And this chapter, again, I feel like we're getting that, like, some of these characters are able to reflect and see this. Yeah. And I hope that the world is willing to listen to those characters, and that this doesn't just become a sad, Just that we can find some hope for the Parshendi, because I do care for them. Like I have a lot of empathy for them, and I'm worried for them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think that there are going to be countries that want their slaves back, right? Kaladin even says, right, they need to rebuild. They're going to want you to be working for them. And, like, that acknowledgement makes me nervous.
For sure.
For them.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know. Yeah. Yeah, and, like, you know, I wish that Warbreaker didn't end the way that it did in terms of the way that it handles the political kind of idea of the revolution against the colonizers. Because it makes me nervous a little bit, right? Because even outside of the Wheel of Time ending, there is an element of Warbreaker where at the end, these people who have been colonized are like rising up against these false gods that have been put above them. And then the book is like, we defeated those dirty revolutionaries. Everything's fine now. And you're like, I don't know if that the pun call, right? That's what they're called.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if we learned the right lesson from how we are treating the pun call at the end of this book. I don't know that we like got to the right place with this.
Yeah, there's some weird things there. So.
And so I'm just hopeful that we handle it better in this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this chapter did a great job. This chapter was a good start to that.
This was a great place to leave off on. I know that this was a large section of reading, but I do appreciate having this chapter for context to talk about today.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. It was a good chunk of reading.
Yeah, and really good stuff. Like I enjoy this version of a lot of this stuff more than I did that like last week of Warbreaker or of Words of Radiance. I enjoyed Dalinar's conversation with the Stormfather more. I feel like it's a 180, but it's a 180 that at least allows the story to go somewhere rather than just like at the end of it at Words of Radiance where like I had a problem with the Stormfather being like nothing you can do. Fuck it. Because I was like, oh, this is a weird point to end on. Yeah. Especially if you're going to 7 chapters later have him be like, no, there is stuff we can do. Like, that feels weird to me a little bit. And there's a couple of weirdnesses, but like, I do feel like right now the story's starting off in a really good place, particularly around Kaladin and this Parshendi and the narrative of, you know, discovering these people and working with them. And, you know, I really liked what he was doing in that moment, and I think it's very smart. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. The Kaladin stuff is my favorite stuff in this book so far. Yeah. Other than the comedy of the dating and the marriage. Like, there's some really funny stuff going on in Urithiru, but in terms of moving the plot forward, I think the Kaladin stuff is the most interesting. Yeah, Kaladin's going to come back with a whole new perspective, right? Yeah. Which is going to totally change things. And maybe this is the book that, like, flips the, like, Brandon Sanderson-ness of it all on its head, because Kaladin comes back in the middle of the book with this, like, perspective on the Parshendi listeners. Like, that's all. You think he's going to come back in the middle of the book? I can't see him staying away the whole time. He needs his bridge 4 people. They're literally part of his. Oh, we didn't talk about that. They're squires now. Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, so they kind of have to be back together. They're pre-Windrunners. Yeah, I think he comes back. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and in that case, they're gonna need something to fight that isn't the Parshendi anyway. Because if they have an army of Windrunners, the fuck are the Parshendi gonna do? I don't know how that's gonna work. We'll have to see. But yeah. Good book club today. I really enjoyed it. I'm liking Oathbringer so far. I think there's a lot of great stuff in it. I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff to think about. There's a lot of moral questions that we've obviously dove into today that I thought we had some great conversations. Claris thinks that you can divide by 0, which is insane, but I still love her. You could say Kaladin has a fresh perspective. Oh my god. Thank you, Michael Kioski, for that super chat. Yeah, no, I feel way smarter than all of you because I have an ability that you don't. So is your high that you think that you're smart? My high is that I'm really good at math. Okay. Actually. My low is I didn't like the 180 of the Stormfather. I wish that it had leaned either way the whole time more. I that genuinely took me out of the book when I read it. Okay, that's fair. I was like, what? This 4 days ago, this guy was like, it's pointless. My actual high was the Chaperone chapter. I am obsessed with Pattern. I love him. He is my special boy, and I will do anything to protect him. What's your low? My low is... Laurel. Yeah. This is like a little like, ugh. You know, and here's the thing is I understand why she is the way that she is, but I still don't like it. What is your high? It's Kaladin and the Parshendi. Yeah. Or the listeners, whatever they want to be called. I thought that the reframing of the way that they view the bad guys is going to make this very interesting, and I'm really excited for it. I wanted more of that in the end of the last book, right? I thought the Eshonai interludes were some of the most interesting pieces in Words of Radiance. And so to lose that at the end of the book felt a little unfortunate to me. And so I'm glad that we're spending so much time in the main chapters and not just in interludes in this book, already diving into them and getting into why this is complicated. I really, really like that quite a bit. I liked a lot of stuff. I thought the beginning of this book was funnier, I think, and more successfully comedic than I think the first two books were.
Okay.
And I think that the quality of the humor has been really strong in these 18 chapters we read.
Yeah.
So that's been really fun. I've enjoyed the sense of humor of this book so far, and thought that that's been pretty successful.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave me comments down below, because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her this episode. That algorithm goddess is...
Syl is hungry for some adultery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She absolutely is. If you want to follow us around the internet, you can. I'm at nerdynightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
Drop a 5-star review over on any of the podcast feeds. I'm going to try and collect those and start reading them again. I need to go see if anyone's dropped a new review. Those reviews are the best way to grow on podcast feeds. So genuinely, they mean a lot. If you could take 5 seconds to go write something dumb over there, we would really appreciate it. And that's our show. That's the Nerdy Wordy Book Club. We'll be back next week reading until...
Oh, I was like, I have the photo somewhere. We are doing until chapter 37.
Till chapter 37, everyone, next week. And it's time for Smut Corner. Claros, you know what that means.
Hey, Beaver, come on. What?
No mating!
Oh.